quick news update. It's being reported that some people were detained and some were released. So thanks for tuning in to Let's Talk About It Media 21. Oh, happy Valentine's Day, everyone. I hope you have.
Well, the government was out to get me
Hold
today.
on. I hope y'all have amazing people in your life who's going to love on you, cherish you, respect you, and I hope you guys have an amazing Valentine's Day. So I got to hurry up, get things done, and busy morning. And I got to get this video out because hopefully that'll keep me in the algorithm. So there's a lot going on in Cardi B, and that's what the voice you heard. So I got to be careful hitting that button up and down. So come on in, like the video. Let me go ahead and do my disclaimer because once the notifications go out, people come in and then they're trying to figure out what I'm talking about. So like the videos, you guys come in. A lot happened last night, and we're going to cover that. So all comments are allegedly. Let me do my disclaimer real quick, and then I'll video. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowances made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teaching, scholarships and research. Fair use is used permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. All comments are alleged in our opinion and for entertainment purposes only. Thanks for being here, everyone. Please like the video as you guys come in, and I'm about to play this clip real quick. Please like the video. We're going to get into last night was something else in regards to what was happening, SWAT, them getting the call. Some of the reporters were in one location, some reporters were in another location. Um, some people were getting more tips than other people. I almost went live, but I was just watching it, just like some of y'all might have been watching it late last night. So we're going to go ahead and get into this clip for the updates. Thanks for being on. Hold on. Like the videos, you guys come in. Let me give you an update with what happened last night. What happened last night. Like the videos, you guys come in. Thanks for being here. Happy Valentine's Day, you guys. If you want to send some love my way, please do. Super chats are welcome. Gifteds are welcome. Okay, let's get to the news. Good morning. Good morning.
So we know that there was this flurry of law enforcement activity over, but not a lot made public just yet. What do you make of what we know about last night's operation?
So it strikes me with that these are two things. They're either tips that have come in, or in reference to the car, did it get picked up on a license plate reader? Did it get picked up on somebody's camera or CCTV? Who knows? But the point being, they must have felt in reference to the car that it had some relevance to, or potential relevance to what has happened. Now, we'll see if that really amounts to anything. The search of the residence, I think people got really excited, and rightly so. I guess I've done this too long. It's pretty routine. Again, probably a tip about something in reference to that house. May not be even directly that the suspect will live there or anything like that, but it has a link to this case. And so they carried it out and then they left. So fairly common behavior in this type of case.
And so, Brad, the DNA that authorities are now analyzing, what will they be looking for?
Well, think about the amount of DNA that's in your house, my house, etc. Workers that were there 6 months ago may have left DNA. But having said that, if they have found DNA that doesn't match any of the regulars, landscapers, family members, etc., into Nancy's house, it puts it in the category of it could be something. If you go to the gloves that they found, now granted, people drop gloves all the time, but what will be important is if a glove DNA matches the DNA they pulled out of Nancy's house, then they may be onto something. Now, that's assuming that that DNA is in some sort of database that you can actually check it against.
Brad, in Aaron's report, we saw that specific backpack that's sold at Walmart. How could that detail really help people here?
Well, I'm sure Walmart, who cooperates with law enforcement every day, gave them a list of people that have purchased those backpacks. Now, keep in mind, Gio, that if you or I walk into a store and pay cash, we might be on their surveillance camera, but there wouldn't be any paper trail like we charge typically. So that's one aspect. what's the volume of sales of that backpack, and how far do you expand out? So my guess is they've gone a fair distance outside, maybe Tucson, the obvious stores, if there's more than one in Tucson, to see where the leads go. This is a great example of what minutia you get into in these cases and how time-consuming it would be just to potentially run down the backpack.
And Brad, as we noted there, we're almost at the 2-week mark now. How does an investigation like this change as time passes?
Well, I mean, obviously the big concern is Nancy's well-being. But, you know, it's a two-track investigation, obviously. Finding her is number one. But number two is you have so many leads in this case, Whit. I don't know that I see anything else dynamically changing. They're going to keep at all of these leads and see if they intersect someplace. In other words, let's just say that the car that they stopped has some relevance in this case, but they don't know what relevance. They get another piece of evidence and then plugs the car into it. So it's almost like a chessboard. And can you concentrate and push the evidence together some way that then points you towards an individual and perhaps a location?
Still so many questions. Brad Garrett, thank you for being with us.
Let's continue with the news. Thanks for being here, everyone. Fair use reaction clip. Let's give you updates. This was from an hour ago.
Developments here in the kidnapping of Nancy Guthrie, the mother of Today's Show co-host Savannah Guthrie. The sheriff in Pima County, Arizona, now telling Fox's Matt Finn that no arrests were made last night and no one is in custody after a search warrant was served in connection with the case. Finn posting on social media just moments ago. You see it right there. And of course, he says breaking no arrests last night in Guthrie case and no one in custody. Pima County Sheriff Nanos tells FNC, of course, talking about Fox News Channel.
And a lot happened last night, so I'm surprised no arrests were made.
After Fox News reports at least 3 people appeared to be detained as a Pima County SWAT team and the FBI executed a search warrant at a home in the Tucson area last night, about 2 miles from Guthrie's home. Fox News Digital also had some photos here that I want to pop up on your screen. Take a look right there, showing a driver apparently detained for questioning after being pulled over in a Culver's parking lot nearby. Law enforcement was seen.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Happy Valentine's Day. You can put flowers in the chat. You can put hearts in the chat. Happy Valentine's Day, you guys. I'm doing a live to update you guys on what happened last night. I hope you have someone in your life that's going to treat you amazing. So, yeah, flowers, hearts, whatever you want to put in the chat. Good morning, everyone. Hopefully, a safe return for Nancy to her family. Let's continue what happened last night.
Searching the Range Rover in the parking lot of that Culver's, removing items and blocking their activity from any kind of view. After a few hours of inspection, that vehicle towed right from the parking lot. Again, Sheriff Chris Nanos confirming to Matt Finn with Fox News that no arrests were made and no one is in custody. The sheriff also speaking one-on-one with Fox's Jonathan Hunt about the latest on the case.
Good for everyone involved. Yeah, no, you know, we've got a lot of energy. We're pumped up. We want this solved.
Do you have hope?
Absolutely.
You think you'll find Nancy Guthrie?
Absolutely, yes. I have nothing but hope. You can't do this job without having that kind of hope. We know that there's the challenges and the potential is there for a bad, but nobody, 400 cops out there, they all have hope and believe that this is a rescue mission.
So that implies you know that she was alive when she left that house.
I believe that there's nothing to suggest she wasn't. The FBI here locally, that's who, when everything's gone, everybody's gone, this thing's over. There'll be 2 things that are constant. The FBI will be here, and the Pima County Sheriff's Department will be here. We will always have a relationship. We have had a relationship with the FBI for decades. We house deputies at their headquarters with them decades ago, before this ever happened. That relationship isn't just a value to my department, and it's not just a value to the FBI. It is a value to this community.
Good morning.
To even suggest the sheriff would set up and say, we're not giving that to them, that is just ludicrous, crazy. That never happens.
And of course, take a look at this video once again. Now, as thousands of tips come in following the release of this doorbell surveillance video, the sheriff and the FBI have not named any potential suspects or persons of interest in the disappearance. Law enforcement, though, saying the suspect in the case is described as a man, about 5'9" to 5'10", with an average build. The Pima County Sheriff's Office also now confirming to Live Now from Fox, DNA matching someone other than Guthrie and those close to her was found on the property. However, the Sheriff's Office is not saying where on the property that DNA was found. The reward in the case has been increased to $100,000, with more than 30,000 combined tips coming in so far, according to the Sheriff's Office and the FBI. There is a lot to this case as we get these developments pretty much on an hourly basis. I want to bring in Jeff Wenninger, retired LAPD lieutenant and founder and CEO of Law Enforcement Consultants. He's also the author of the book On Thin Ice. Jeff, thank you so much as always for being here with us today.
What would you do with an extra $700?
Like the video, like the video. Someone had said people might be getting exhausted or tired from this case. Somebody had 1 million views in their chat yesterday. People are not getting tired. People want this woman returned home. People were detained yesterday. There was someone detained earlier this week. People want this woman returned home. This is somebody's mother. Like the videos, you guys come in. Thanks for being here. And don't think this is easy for us. We want her returned home.
On Thin Ice. Jeff, thank you so much as always for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. And first off, I want to talk about this new development from the sheriff. We know that according to officials there, it appeared that 3 people were detained for questioning at one location last night during a search warrant being served. And then nearby, there was a traffic stop conducted in connection as well. That person also appeared to be detained for questioning. Can you kind of explain for folks out there the difference between an actual arrest and a detainment for questioning? They're not the same, of course.
No, they both have different standards by law. When you're detained for questioning, that requires just reasonable suspicion. It's just that you have a belief that a crime is, or about to occur, and the person that you want to talk to is associated to it. There's a higher standard relative to the arrest, which is probable cause. And that's where you have a stronger belief. You have a reasonable, objective belief that there's been a crime committed and the person you are interested in is involved in that crime. And ultimately, that is the same standard that they use for these search warrants. You would have to have a completed affidavit, a sworn affidavit, where you're establishing that you have an objective and reasonable belief that there has been a crime committed and that evidence of that crime would be at the location to be searched.
One thing that's interesting is we heard from the Pima County Sheriff yesterday. He confirmed for us here, as I mentioned, at Live Now from Fox, that DNA was found at Nancy Guthrie's property. It does not match her or anyone, quote-unquote, close to her. How significant could that be in the investigation as a whole?
Well, it can be quite significant, and the reason being is that people that tend to commit these crimes have a criminal record, and oftentimes their DNA will be on file in the national database. That's called CODIS, which is the Combined DNA Index System. And if you have DNA, you can apply it to that system, make a specific determination on whose DNA it is. Oftentimes you will not be successful in that, so then there's other DNA type of testing that you can do, which is more genealogy wise, where you can determine a family tree, maybe identify a family member, a relative, that will better help focus your investigation.
TMZ told us, of course, we have a partnership with them. We've talked to them pretty much daily as all of this has been progressing here. They mentioned that they got a ransom note days after the disappearance, but just days ago, they started to receive essentially emails from someone who was requesting 1 Bitcoin in exchange for information about who that suspect is that was seen in the doorbell video, according to investigators. So what I wanted to ask you is there a way to really trace that and find out who is sending those emails so that investigators can go and question that person?
It's difficult, but possible. But ultimately, you're taking the metadata that you have and the header analysis, and you can ultimately, hopefully, determine the IP address, timestamps, as well as the servers that were used. It's my understanding that the law enforcement is working closely with TMZ and their IT department, and hopefully being able to make some progress in identifying the specific person that these emails are coming from. Now, that underscores one thing that I want to emphasize, is that it's all about cooperation, whether you're local, state, federal, or the private sector. It's the cooperation that matters. The video that we received on her Nest camera at the residence, that was a result of working closely with the private sector, and that is what we need in order to be successful in this investigation.
And that's interesting because at first we heard from the sheriff saying there is no surveillance video. He was very irritated about it and said, we're not finding any images, any video. The FBI steps in, and just a few days later, possibly within 24 hours or so, that video there is released to folks out there. So it really is about a partnership between local law enforcement and federal law enforcement.
Absolutely, they have to be working in tangent. And when you have an investigation of this size, you're establishing an operational structure where you're using an incident command system, where you have command, operations, intelligence, and logistics, and they all have to be working cooperatively and in unison with one another to be effective and efficient in this investigation. And when you have thousands and thousands of leads that are coming in, that underscores how crucial it actually is that you're working effectively and sharing the information that you're getting. Because the sheriff had mentioned the number of leads that the sheriff's department has received, as well as the leads that the FBI has received, and that's significant. You have to make sure.
Good morning. Good morning. Last night, the SWAT team was out last night and they swarmed homes. And there was a lot that happened last night. Now they're saying that the people that they detained last night have been released. So I'm just updating you guys on what happened last night, what transpired last night. Good morning, everyone. I wish I had better news. Prayers for Nancy to be returned back home safely to her family. Let's continue with the news. I have 2 other videos queued up of what happened within the last hour and 30 minutes. Let's just update you on what happened last night. Praying she's returned back to her family, y'all. We just got to try and stay positive. Thanks for being here, everyone. Good morning. Good morning.
You're sharing that information and working cooperatively together.
And again, you're seeing that video right there on the right-hand side of your screen. Anyone with information is urged to contact that FBI tip line, and that number 1-800-CALL-FBI. We've been showing it on the screen quite a bit here. The FBI doubling the reward. So just based on your experience, do higher rewards typically lead to stronger tips? Is there any kind of correlation there?
Well, there's no suggestion that it brings in more significant tips. However, what's important is that it increases the number of tips. And if you look at what has occurred here, where we want to be getting these leads that we first can look at and prioritize. And when you're prioritizing them, you want to look at the leads that are specific, ones that are actionable, and those that you can corroborate with all of the other evidence that you have. Because the reality is these investigations are complex and continually reviewing, generating and following up on the leads that you have, and then repeating that. So it's very, very important that we triage this evidence and establish which evidence we need to give a priority to in order to use the limited resources that we actually have. Although we have a number of people from multiple jurisdictions assigned to this investigation, it's still a limited amount of resources, and we have to use those in the most effective manner.
I want to pull up that video once again because something else that was interesting, a lot of people caught on to it, is the fact that when the video was put out initially, this person was described simply as a subject, a person who had tampered with that doorbell camera. But just a couple days ago, we actually heard from officials call this person a quote-unquote suspect in the disappearance. Is that a big development there to have that wordage saying quote-unquote suspect versus maybe subject?
Well, it is significant, and because it gives some further investigative relevance. We have some specific details about the suspect now, and that's important. Why? Because we can be more targeted in our outreach to the public for their assistance. And I truly believe that that's the reason we saw the reward go from 50,000 to 100,000. It's to hopefully get somebody that knows this person as a result of seeing this footage and these still photographs that will step forward and say, I know this individual, and hopefully break the case through that means with the outreach to the public.
Could the suspects, maybe movements, behavior on the porch there, offer any sort of clues? Again, we keep putting it on your screen because we want to make sure that we're getting those images out there in case for some reason you've not been able to see them or you want to take another look at it. But the movements, the behavior, all of that, does that provide clues to maybe somebody who knows this person?
Well, it does provide clues because we're fortunate enough to have video where we can see his gait. There's things that are very specific about how people move that you can easily recognize if you know them or how they actually stand. It's those sorts of things that are very important. But the one thing that jumped out at me, I watched this video over and over and over again, and the first thing I noticed was how nonchalant this individual was. And then I noticed how when he recognized the Nest camera, he goes and picks up some flowers to attempt to cover the camera. And that suggested to me that this individual isn't quite as sophisticated as some people may suggest. And the reality is that this video is putting some increased pressure on this individual, and hopefully that pressure is going to cause him to make mistakes moving forward, because the investigation involves 3 areas. You're looking at prior to the incident, the actual incident occurring, and the post-incident, and now we're looking for him to make a mistake post-incident.
Good morning. Good morning.
Another topic here that I wanted to touch on, we had a combined number of tips here is over about 30,000 according to the Pima County Sheriff's Office and the FBI. Of course, they each have lines that are set up that these calls, emails are coming into a lot. We've seen a lot of them, over 30,000 tips. How exactly do law enforcement go about determining which of these is something significant and which is maybe nothing, a dead end?
I found myself at a time in my career where I knew.
Like the videos y'all come in. Like the videos y'all come in. Lazy husband, what is wrong with you? Talk about Cash Patel. Like the videos y'all come in. I needed that lazy husband. I needed that lazy husband. Oh my goodness, stop. You got me tickled over here. And I'm trying to be serious. Praying for Nancy to be safely returned to her family. What is wrong with you, lazy husband? Let's continue. Yeah, I'm concerned with the FBI and the sheriff solving this case. I was just literally talking with a friend. Hold on one second. I was literally just talking with a friend. It's sad that the family didn't even know that she was gone and missing for almost 10, 11, 12 hours. Could you imagine? Think about it. Could you imagine? Thank you for liking and subscribing. Could you imagine how Nancy was feeling, whatever the situation was going on, that her family didn't even know that this was happening to her? I don't think there was an alarm that went off. Where I don't know how this person did they get in the house? Was there a door unlocked and she didn't know the door was unlocked? How did they even get into the home? Make sure your family has an alarm. An alarm should have went off to notify the neighbors, the police, the ambulance. An alarm should have went off. But in realizing that it took the people who she normally meets, they were the ones that told the family that she didn't show up for the alleged meetup time. Let's say alleged meetup time. She didn't show up. If it wasn't for that person saying, hey, she should be here, but she's not here, let me reach out to the family. Could you imagine if that person would have minded their business and didn't say anything? It would have taken days. It would have taken more hours. I'll say that. I'll take that back. It would have taken even more hours for the family to realize and wonder where their mother was. Not till the morning. Everything that happened regards to the home was between 1 something and 2 something. Because remember, the watch stopped detecting regards to her heart pace, sir, regards to 2 o'clock or something. But could you imagine how Nancy was feeling that my family don't know what's happening, what's occurring? I'm removed from my home. Is Nancy comfortable? Is are they feeding her? Does she have access to a restroom? What? Could you imagine how she was feeling being 84, trying to push away attackers at 84? At 84. She's to defend herself against, I don't know if it's 1 person, 2 people, we don't know. And then for the people to basically say, they had stated to TMZ, I'm glad that person said something about TMZ. Has TMZ solved the issue yet? It's very interesting that TMZ is even involved. Praying for Nancy. And then the person is stating, I don't want the reward money. I want you guys to send it this way through Bitcoin. And then once the reward money went up, they were saying, okay, I want 2 portions of the, Bitcoin. It's like, why would you just not want to tell us where she at out of just pure morals? This is where she at. I'm going to give y'all the tip. They could have been did that. And so how many people are working against this whole situation? And okay, this guy allegedly stated he has tips, right? He know what's going on, right? So you think the people that you're around don't know that you're trying to snitch? So how do we even know? If anything, from day one, proof of life if you want anything. Proof of life if you want anything, any monetary, anything. How's she doing? How's she feeling? What did she eat the day of? What did she eat when she was with her daughters? What type of clothes was she wearing? We need proof. You know what I'm saying? Just sad all around. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. Send hearts, put flowers in the chat. Press 3 where you're watching from. Press 3 where you're watching from. Press 5 if you've been here before and where you're watching from. Prayers for Nancy for a safe return. Prayers for Nancy for a safe return. It's getting sad. It is. It is. At 84, she should be comfortable enjoying times with friends and family. Let's continue with the news. Prayers for Nancy. Prayers for Nancy. Let's continue.
that evidence at the top of the pile relative to the actions that the investigation is going to be taking. And really, it's a tireless job, because the reality is that all of these tips have to be looked into to some extent.
Yeah, let's see. My mom was 84 years old. Rich, 24 hours monitoring, looking in. Yes. And me and my friend was saying, you know how when parents hire a nanny and they have a video camera and they can see stuff within the house? Have a camera inside the house that people are wondering, okay, what is that? That's a bear, or a camera in the plant, something. You know what I'm saying? So there's 24-hour surveillance in the home. So they would have seen what they did. Did they put the mask on before they came in the house, after the house? 24-hour surveillance. I was watching and listening to someone else. A young lady lives far away from her father. And she had said because there was cameras in the house, she saw that her dad had fell, and she was able to call and get the ambulance over there. And then she was able to travel to the city or state that the dad was living in. But just in general, emergency purposes, if they fall, remember how they used to, back in the day, the women or the men would have the just for comfort, mind, body, soul, spirit. Remember how back in the day they would have that emergency thing on their neck? If there's an alarm that goes off, she can press that emergency thing around her neck, or whether it's right by the nightstand. But parents at that age need situation that's comfortable, where they're either pressing the button on their neck, they're pressing the button around their on their nightstand, or they're able to say, somebody's at my home, let me call 911 with her phone. With this situation, it doesn't seem like she had any notification that anybody was trying to get in. That's where everybody's kind of like, this is really sad. This is really sad. At that age, you got to be able to have a few minutes to call the police so the police comes to help or assist. Yeah, it's kind of sad. Life alert. Thank you. Back in the day, them life alert commercials would pop up all the time. Life alert. She needed the life alert around her neck. Now, mind you, she did have the Apple Watch. They're feeling that the Apple Watch should have did with the life alert. But once you charge the Apple Watch, you don't then have nothing by you, near you. And that's why I said maybe there should have been something around her neck, or if she's trying to sleep, the life alert is right by the nightstand. You know what I mean? Yeah, a push button or something, or some kind of alarm should have told her. And she doesn't have a pet, it seems. And as you see different videos of neighbors walking their dogs, a lot of the neighbors had pets. So, of course, a pet would have barked. You know what I mean? And then a lot of people are feeling like TMZ should not have said what they've been saying. They should just kind of back off. No, this is not stupid. This is somebody's mother. We got to pray for somebody's mother. You know what I mean? Today's not the day for weird comments. Today's not the day. It's Valentine's Day. But we got to put this story out because a lot happened last night versus me going live. I was trying to listen and I was hopeful that she would be returned. So let me go ahead and continue with the news. Praying for Nancy for a safe return. Let's continue.
Or another, and to be determined what level of credibility do they have.
The sheriff.
And also, the last thing I'll say, the cameras within the neighborhood should have caught that car between the time frame that they went to her house and the time frame they left. Cameras should have caught that car, the license plate, what type of vehicle. The camera should have caught that too. So they might have more information about the car that pulled up to the house. Maybe, I don't know. And how did they get in? Like the video. Let's continue. Thanks for being here, everyone.
In Pima County, saying that officials are using what's known as the Neighbors app. A lot of people there, not just.
Yeah, many people go missing every day. Why is this case special? Nancy Guthrie? Because her mom is 84? Should we even have to explain? Nancy is well liked in the news area. Some people say, she does some hardcore stories, but, Nancy's liked. People are concerned. So yeah, this is somebody's mom. Thanks for being here, everyone. Let's continue.
Specifically in this area, but nationwide, use that to communicate with their neighbors and get different messages. They say they're actually reaching out to those neighbors to ask if they have any video, if they've seen anything. We also know that the sheriff is asking people to go back to the date of January 1st to check their video if they're within about a 2-mile radius. That is a fairly large radius. What does that, if anything, say to you?
Well, you're looking at the environmental characteristics of the neighborhood, because there's this neighborhood is quite isolated, and there's only a certain number of ways in and out. So there's going to be distance travel. There's only going to be certain ingress and egress routes to her residence into that neighborhood. So it's along those routes that they want to basically appeal to the citizens that live in that community to further check their video cameras, because now we have some more specific, detailed information for them to be looking for.
Facts.
All right, Jeff Wenninger, thank you so much for taking the time to join us here. Obviously, a lot of ground covered. And
like the video, like the video.
A lot of developments that are coming in. Anything we missed that you want to make sure to add here before I let you go?
Well, the one thing I would say that in my personal life, I have a number of people that come up to me and ask me if I believe that she's still alive. And listen, absent any specific facts or information to believe otherwise, I absolutely believe that she's alive. My thoughts and my prayers are with the family, and I hope that this is resolved in an optimal way and that she's returned to her loved ones soon.
Facts.
And of course, the sheriff there, Chris Nanos, over in Pima County, talking with Fox News yesterday and saying the same thing. He, of course, has hope and believes that she is alive 2 weeks, of course, today, after she was last reportedly seen as she was dropped off at her home over in the Tucson area. Jeff, thank you again for being here with us. We definitely appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I want to pop this up on your screen once again. This is coming in from Michael Ruiz. He is with Fox News Digital and says, developing, they cuffed this guy, towed his car, and may have accessed his phone. But the sheriff tells Fox News that no arrests have been made and no one is in custody. Now, that photo there, we showed you some of them a bit earlier. That is coming from Kat Ramirez over at Fox News Digital. As I mentioned, if you do have any information, make sure that you are calling the tip line there for the FBI. That number, 1-800-CALL-FBI. This is the latest description that we have coming in from officials there as far as a suspect description. They say the person is a male, approximately 5'9" to 5'10", average build, and wearing a black 25-liter Ozark Trail hiker pack backpack. Again, any information, contact authorities.
Yeah, so if you're just not coming in, they just gave the number, the tip line, and who to call. So I'm glad that was towards the end. Prayers for Nancy for a safe return home to her family. We've been saying a lot. We've been saying distractions. We have been saying that. Like the videos, you guys come in. Let's get some more news so we can understand what's going on. Prayers for Nancy.
Make of these overnight developments. Well, Griff, a lot of frenetic activity last night, and obviously these are the way these kind of complex investigations go. There are typically fits and starts and ebbs and flows, and you're trying to read the investigative tea leaves from this side of the crime tape. I got to tell you, last night, I think the investigation has moved in a direction where they could possibly have some probative value evidence. And what happened last night? Well, we saw the Pima County Sheriff's Office rolling out their big Bearcats or their SWAT vehicles. Now, there's two options on the tactical end. We know that the FBI's hostage rescue team is also on the ground. They've got great capabilities. They've got explosive breaching capabilities. And I imagine if they believed, authorities believed that Mrs. Guthrie was on site, they would have used HRT for that. In this instance, it looks like it was the execution of a search warrant, and then somebody else was pulled over in a vehicle and detained there. So there had to be enough probable cause to be able to get a judge, a court-ordered search warrant, to go in and try to find evidence. What could that be? Could it be something that we saw in that video, that black grainy video that the FBI released this past week? Quite possibly. Something like the backpack, something like a pair of gloves or something like that. Now, it's very interesting, and I'll wrap with this, that the Pima County Sheriff's Office not to release more information at this juncture, which means they're sitting on this. They're trying to see if this is a development that is going to lead to something more substantial, and they obviously don't want to tip the abductors off to anything.
How are these?
Hello, good morning, good morning. Happy Valentine's Day, you guys. There's about 160 in the building. Please hit the subscribe button. That'll be a happy Valentine's Day for me. Super chats are welcome. $1, $2, but everyone subscribing will be a happy Valentine's Day for me. Please hit the subscribe button and thank you. Let's continue with the news. Fair use reaction clip.
Agencies cooperating together. I mean, interesting that the FBI is saying, hey, we don't want you to release this information. Are they working hand in glove? Are you sensing tension or frustration with how each one is running the investigation?
Yeah, Rachel, that's a tough one. And through 25 years in the FBI, I worked across many different task forces, along with the NYPD and upstate New York police departments and sheriff's office. It's always tough when there's a little bit of territoriality in there where people are trying to determine what's my role. Kidnapping is a federal crime since 1932. However, in this instance, the Pima County Sheriff's Office does have the lead. So the FBI has to be asked into the investigation. And Rachel, you can see the frustration yesterday, I believe, in a presser where President Trump was asked about that, and he acknowledged the same. The FBI can't wrest the investigation away from the Pima County Sheriff's Office. They can only be there to assist.
You said a minute ago that a hostage rescue team operation would have looked differently if they had been going into that house. How would that have looked different?
Okay, Charlie, so here's the difference. The hostage rescue team, the FBI's HRT, is a Tier 1 asset. What is a Tier 1 asset? It's on the level of the Army's Delta Force or the Navy SEALs, SEAL Team 6, the DEV group. So they have capabilities that local SWAT teams may not have. Now, the Pima County Sheriff's Office has about 1,600 personnel, 600 sworn officers. I'm fairly certain they've got a full-time SWAT team. They may not have explosive breaching capabilities. And what does that mean? Well, in a hostage rescue, if there's a determination that Mrs. Guthrie might be alive, you're going to use things like speed, surprise, violence of action, because what you want to do is you want to overwhelm the bad guys. SWAT teams are good, but the HRT is a different level. The last thing is this. There's only 3 outcomes here, right? 2 of them are positive, 1 of them is negative. So she's either released, she is rescued, or this is a recovery operation. Obviously, we're praying for one of the first 2.
Yeah, James, so we've talked about this house and that operation. Let's go to the other scene of interest, and that is, of course, this Range Rover. This individual stopped in the Range Rover in the Culver's parking lot. He's detained, and, of course, they were very interested in the Range Rover. They took it away on a flatbed. At one point, we saw the authorities holding a tarp up, keeping the media's view away from whatever was in the rear of this vehicle. What does that tell you that they actually removed it, took it on a flatbed? What are we possibly looking at? And to be clear for our viewers, authorities have not confirmed that this incident was tied directly to the Guthrie investigation.
Like the video as you guys come in. Thanks for being here, everyone. Thanks for being here. Let me know in the comments if you're doing anything special for Valentine's Day. I'll probably know within about 30 minutes, hour. Like the video as you guys come in. Thanks for being here. Thanks for subscribing. If you already hit subscribe, press 3 if you knew where you're watching from. Press 3 if you knew where you're watching from. Press 5 if you've been here before where you're watching from. Let's continue. Thanks for being here, everyone.
Well, again, you're looking for probative value here. And you got to understand, again, the synergy that's going on between the FBI and the Pima County Sheriff's Office. Here in Arizona, there is a district attorney, or in Pima County, a county attorney. So they're handling this case from that perspective, which means they would get the search warrants for this. If it was happening on the federal level, there's only one federal district in Arizona. I'm sure they're talking to each other. They're figuring out the best way to do this and get the most bang for the buck. On the probative value of the vehicle, they're probably going to be searching that if they think it had any connection to the abduction of Nancy Guthrie from her home right over my shoulder here. They're probably going to be testing for hair and fiber, see if there's any blood spatter inside, any DNA that can be pulled off of it. So if they are impeding it, and that's clearly what that scene explained to me, they're going to be going through that thing with a fine-tooth comb.
What new evidence do you think they've collected out of that home? And also, just from your own experience, do you feel like we're reaching a crescendo here in this case, that this is, you describe the activity as, frenetic. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. Is this what happens right before we figure this out, we solve this?
Rachel, it could be. Now, again, when the investigation begins, you have this really wide aperture, and you've got to kind of be looking in all different directions. You've got to look at a potential connection to Mexico. You've got to look at, did somebody cross state lines? You've got to look at, you've got to go through retail purchases. You've got to go through the telemetry of the situation. You have to go through so many different things. Once you start to narrow that down, and I'll use as a perfect example, earlier this week, we were on scene down in Rio Rico, where an individual was stopped and detained down there, and a search warrant was executed on a home down there. Okay, at this point, it looks like the home was released back to the people that lived there, and the person was released. So there's no guarantee that what went on last night and what's currently ongoing is going to be the margin of victory that's going to get us Mrs. Guthrie back and the perpetrators arrested. But it does seem like they're narrowing their focus down. And this is only 2 miles from here. This is about, I think, 2 and change from about northwest of where I'm standing here in front of Mrs. Guthrie's house. So very close by. Think about this in historical terms. Many times, kidnappers remain close by, and God forbid it's a body recovering or a release happens, it could be within this very neighborhood that we're standing in right now.
So James, these developments come after a day where you had the sheriff announce that DNA that did not belong to Nancy or anyone close to her was found in the house. It also comes after TMZ reports that a third note was sent to them, upping the amount of money that they want to identify the person. Do you think that what we're seeing right now unfold on our screens is related to any of that?
Charlie, we have still not heard from authorities that the ransom notes are connected in any way with the actual abductors of Mrs. Guthrie. So I'm sure that the investigators obviously know more than we do about this and whether or not there are any ties there. They're not going to ignore those notes, even if they believe that this is just a horrible person, an opportunist that looked at this and says, I can take advantage of this. This is something called a virtual kidnapping. It happened all the time down in Mexico when I was stationed down there, where people would find out that somebody was out of cell phone service or out of pocket, and they would contact the family and extort them because the family couldn't get in touch with their loved one. In this instance, we just don't know if those two pieces match up. I'm hoping that we get some more information soon, but I've said all along on this, less is more here. Only have a press conference and release things when you think it is of such value to the public to help in crowdsourcing or the public needs.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for the positive Christian messages you're sending. I'm seeing them. Thank you. Thank you. Prayers for Nancy to return back home. Please hit the subscribe button, you guys. Thanks for being here. We're just giving you an update of what happened last night and this morning. And as it continues, fair use reaction clip. Let's continue.
To know it. So I think we may hear something today. I was surprised that again last night, another unforced error. Pima County makes an announcement that, we're gonna make a statement. Then they walk that back and say, we're going to release a written statement. And then they walk that back and say, well, on the advice of the FBI, we're not going to be saying anything at this moment. That tells me that the FBI is not playing a bigger role in this.
James, really quick, I'm interested because my ears were sort of paying really close attention when you said you dealt with a lot of kidnapping south of the border. Is there anything in this case that makes you think this could be something international, transnational versus local?
So, Rachel, I know Mexico well, and obviously where we're standing right here is about 60 or 70 miles from the border. The border town is Nogales, and Nogales is in the Sonoran region in Mexico, which is also covered by the Sinaloa cartel. Think Chapo Guzman. These type of abductions happened all the time down there, and it was generally people that were rich and had the means to be extorted that way. Could there be a nexus? I'm not certain. When I was in the role as the deputy legal attaché and the acting legal attaché in the embassy in Mexico City, many times we dealt with these kind of cross-border transnational organizations and gangs that did things like this. I'm sure the investigators are looking into it. It's not ruled out, but nothing yet, except for the one glove that was found about 2 miles south of here, indicate that anything's headed down that way.
James, we were just showing on our screen there the details about the suspect in that surveillance camera images recovered. They believe the individual is about 5'9", 5'10" tall. And I think the most significant thing is
Yeah, last night 3 was detained and released. Just like earlier this week, that guy was detained and also released. What tips are they getting and then releasing these people? You know what I mean? What's happening? You're getting these amazing tips. Everyone's hearts are racing, thinking we've got the person, we've got information. And then for them to be detained and then released, what tips are they getting to do all that was done last night? A lot happened last night. Some of the detectives, ex-police officers, ex-chiefs are saying that does not mean that more questions won't happen regarding those people. They said they will question, and then if they have to release them, they'll release them. Then they have question them again, they'll question them again. But to detain and not keep, everybody's wondering what's going on. Like the video, fair use reaction clip. If you want me to see your comment, please send in a super chat, $1, $2, so I can look at it. A lot of times over here, I don't read the super chats out loud because people be trying to catch people up. And I got to be careful over here. So I'm always going to protect my page. But if there's something you want me to say, please send it a super chat so I can send it. Also, memberships are over there because I've covered a lot this week. If you missed it, you missed it. I covered a lot this week. And I put those videos on memberships. I did. Some of the videos I had over 100K. A lot of those videos I put on memberships only. So the members are the ones that can see those videos from this week. We covered a lot on Wednesday and Thursday. On Tuesday we did pretty good too, but Wednesday, Thursday, man, we covered a lot. We talked about a lot of stuff. A lot's going on, y'all. A lot's going on. So if you got to see those videos, definitely hit the membership button. You can see those videos. So today I probably won't do members only, but Wednesday, Thursday, yeah. And I think I even put Fridays on members only. Like the video, fair use reaction clip.
Identified specifically the backpack he was wearing, which by the way seemed to be packed, it was full, was an Ozark Trail hiker backpack. And there's a suggestion that that might be something that they could trace to a purchase at a local Walmart or somewhere, and maybe there would be surveillance of the individual purchasing it. What do you make of that lead?
From big to small.
Yeah, they're trying to narrow down the items that were spotted from that night. They're trying to figure out where that person bought those items. Like the video, fair use.
What do you make of that lead?
Well, retail purchasing and following that trail has gotten exponentially more difficult, Griff, now that we've moved into the era where many people shop online. So it's not just brick and mortar stores that you got to go back and wear out shoe leather, talking to managers, trying to get, videotape and having them going through their...
That's what they were saying. You can only hold a person for a certain amount of time. That's correct. Thanks for saying that.
Credit card receipts to find out who might have purchased this. Somebody had said on air the other day that, well, if it's not purchased by a credit card, then you can't track it. And that's not true. The stores have inventory control. They know what dates and what times different things are sold. Then they go back and they can pull up the video, and the FBI and the Pima County Sheriff's Office can go back and review that video to see who came into the store then and who made that purchase. But I just want you the resources that are required for that. This is going to require just a monumental amount of folks. And look, when President Trump says we're going to give the FBI the ticket to help out on this and whatever the Guthrie family needs or the Pima County Sheriff's Office needs, that is a huge push. The resources that are deployed down here out of the Phoenix office, which is the main office that covers the state of Arizona, and also the Tucson resident agency, which is like a satellite office. There are agents and Pima County Sheriff's detectives out running all of those leads down right now, Griff. That may also prove to be the margin of victory. Tracking this down, finding out who purchased that backpack, and heck, it may have had something to do with last night's execution of the search warrants.
Mm-hmm. So this current scene, this new scene, is about 2 miles away from the Guthrie house. The glove that was found on the side of the road is about 1.5 miles. And earlier you mentioned that oftentimes in a kidnapping or disappearance case, the kidnappers or the perpetrators are usually remain within a close area. Why is that?
It's the same reason that whenever there's, violence or an abduction, you always look at intimate family members first, and then you build out in concentric circles. And what do I mean by that? The people that have the closest contact with someone are always persons of interest.
People were detained yesterday, then released. Not yet. Praying for Nancy to be returned safely to her family. Thanks for being here, everyone. Happy Valentine's Day. Let me know in the comments what your plans are for Valentine's Day. You can put hearts in the comments, flowers in the comments. Happy Valentine's Day. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Just do a general update on what happened last night. Last night, more happened than even the other night when the other guy got detained. They were in front of a residence. They were also at like a restaurant looking at a vehicle, looking inside the vehicle. They had yellow covering, trying to cover up what they were trying to get out of the vehicle. I think a vehicle might have been towed away. I don't know if that vehicle has been given back. A lot happened last night. I was watching it. I almost went live, but I try not to go live at night because family and, they don't want to hear all this. So a lot of times I try and do my videos in the morning. They don't mind if I'm watching it or listening to earbuds. But yeah, a lot happened last night, only for people to be released back. And, that there's a lot going on. You figure that kind of probably traumatizes them too, if they did or didn't, but what makes them think that they had something to do with. You know what I'm saying? What tips are they getting to detain and then release? That's what everyone's saying. So there was a person detained earlier this week. What, Monday, Tuesday? Then there was 2 detained yesterday. Possible, can't confirm or deny, but I'm hearing that it might have been possibly 2 guys and 1 lady. Yeah, so like the videos, you guys come in. Like the videos, you guys come in. Other stuff happened last night. I'm not going to go into that, but there was a lot that happened last night.
It's like this because the statistics prove it out. They're out there. Now then you move to, okay, who did this person come in contact with? And that's why you've been hearing things like the landscapers that have been, interviewed and voluntarily agreed to give a DNA sample, the person who cleans the pool, the gentleman that was pulled over.
Yes, they had pool cleaners at her house. Now, whether that was a scheduled situation that they come and clean the pool every so often, the day before that, or even late Thursday night, there was an Amazon person trying to drop off a package. One of the neighbors was walking up to the house with the dog. All that should have been taped up. You should not even be able to get into her driveway, up to her door. There was a person that ordered pizza. The person went up to the door thinking that somebody was possibly in the house and asking for pizza, and allegedly it was a reporter that gave the address allegedly to get their pizza. That should have been the address to the gas local streets or local stuff. That was, they shouldn't have did that. People, and then the they released the home to the family 2 or 3 days after. That area should have stayed taped up. Nobody should have be able to be near that house, by that house. It should have always been taped up, period. How things have happened has been messy. Whether the sheriff and the FBI getting along, whether it should be tested here, that's concerning. Whether it should be tested over here, situations that happened in regards to that sheriff department years ago. There's a lot that's going on, a lot being said. And hopefully the FBI will step in, because and don't, let me know if I'm wrong. I don't recall ever the FBI detaining, then releasing. Let's detain a few more, then release. I've never heard of a situation like this. I don't do true crimes or anything like that, but I've never heard of this type of situation. Everyone was hopeful a few days ago. Oh, good. We found, and will she be pulled out the house? And then last night we're thinking there's a situation at a restaurant, there's a situation at a house. We're thinking, you know what I'm saying? We just did not think that people, I mean, and I guess they're happy they're released back to their homes, but we're just wondering what's going on. Like the video, fair use reaction clip.
For down in Rio Rico, down closer to the border earlier this.
And then they said one of the sheriffs, one of the sheriffs was at a basketball game or a sporting event. What? What? Why would you? What? Couldn't you watch that or listen to that in the comfort of your home? I feel for Nancy's family regarding that. The sheriff said it is at a sporting event, and it was days in, and I'm sure he was exhausted. They say he has to have a life too, but man, I was like, what? And they took pictures of him being there. I'm surprised the people that were at the sporting event, find Nancy, find that. I'm surprised they didn't shout him out of that event. Hello, like the videos y'all come in.
This week, possibly one of the things that went into that search warrant was the fact that we use a thing called geofencing or geolocation, which means his cell phone pinged in this area. And then maybe you match that up with another piece of evidence, like somebody going, hey, I looked at that picture, that image.
A lot of people care. Do you know there was a streamer that had almost 1 million views yesterday? People care. What? There's a streamer that had almost 1 million views yesterday. When I looked up, I think he had 1 million views. People care. They're streaming from him, streaming from the house. He's going to different locations within that area. Like the video. People care. This is somebody's mama. Hello.
And I know somebody that looks like that. I saw the eyes, and I think it's this person. Could that have been enough to trigger a magistrate signing off on a search warrant? Absolutely.
James, so just because we saw the video, that creepy video of the guy in the mask at the front of the house, does that mean that and we saw this arrest or the detainments of these people a few miles away, does that mean that we're still not looking at family members, or are family members still being looked at?
Good question.
Scholarship at National University.
Like the video. Fair use reaction clip. Please hit the subscribe button, you guys. I'm here working on a Saturday. Please hit the subscribe button. Happy Valentine's Day. I hope everyone's having a great day. Let's continue.
There's a saying in this business that you follow the evidence bereft of fear or favor. So no one has been definitively ruled out, and I think a number of times the Pima County Sheriff has stated on the record that we are not ruling anybody out at this juncture.
And is there, just as you look at the case, is there any family members that things that you think are unusual that you go, yeah, they should probably still be looking at this? And a lot of people talked about the son-in-law. I've also heard online people going, I think it's strange that, Savannah Guththrie's husband, not that he's one of the people, but that really, up front and center in this, as much as, the other family members. Is that something they look at as well?
Sure. Well, Rachel, let's remember, kidnappings happen for one of two reasons: for profit or for revenge. And sometimes they can have an ideological bent to them, but you have to start playing all that out. We don't appear to have a motivation yet. And of course, you're going to look at intimate family members, but I think law enforcement has to be super careful. And why is that? Well, if law enforcement mentions, hey, we think that this could have a possible connection without the facts to back that up, you've now smeared somebody, and then you put that person in a bad position. So they've got to be super careful about not sharing that information publicly unless they have enough for an arrest warrant, or they want to crowdsource a person of interest they may want to talk to. That is the only time you should ever share somebody's name or make a supposition. that you can't back up.
Such a great point. James Galliano, former FBI supervisor agent, thank you for that great insight to start us off. We'll check back with you throughout the morning.
Okay, let's continue.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox
Like the videos, y'all come in. Like the videos, you guys come in. Let's continue. Good morning, or is it afternoon already? Good morning, Thanks for being here. Like the videos, you guys come in.
And we also saw that white tent there that was put up and quickly taken down outside of the residence. To break down what we do know this morning is Darren Porter, former NYPD lieutenant, joining us live there in Tucson. Good morning to you, Darren.
Good morning, and thanks for having me as a guest.
Absolutely. Well, let's just start. There were several developments overnight there. What do we know as of this morning?
Okay, as we parse this out, we had a magistrate that signed off on a search warrant, which resulted in a successful execution, taking 3 individuals into custody. I want to say just short of 2 miles away from Nancy's house. And then we had a 4th individual that was taken into custody at a Culver's fast food restaurant that was several miles away further. We don't have any groundbreaking information that's been introduced to the public. However, this is a break in the case that can assist to allow us to extract more information to make an identification as to a possible suspect. In addition to that, trying to find out the whereabouts of Nancy Guthrie.
Now, Darren, a question I think the media has had is why have we not had a press conference? Because this seems like this could be a major development in this case. So why are officials not yet sharing more information with the public?
I think it's of optimum importance for law enforcement to introduce a fact pattern that would allow the public to assist in this case. And it goes back to not too long ago, there was a blast that was sent out to people that lived within a 2-mile radius to provide law enforcement with camera footage of something that would be suspected activity that would rely, or I should say, present a level of concern to law enforcement. That was a key piece in enlisting the public. But when we speak to a press conference, I think we would have a more established line of information that we can all listen to and hear, but that hasn't happened. But we have to also bear in mind, we had a significant development overnight as it relates to this warrant. So that may be a reason why law enforcement hasn't provided us with the information.
Okay, y'all. Last night, I watched it. Brian was one of the first people on site when this all went down. So we're about to play Brian. So he's going to give us the 411 on what happened last night, what was transpired, what tip he got. Let's listen to Brian, because this is who I was listening to last night, along with JR Investigate.
SWAT situation that I've been covering for the last 3 or 4 hours. I was inside the perimeter because we were following the SWAT team. We got in, and we know that at least one person has been detained. The neighborhood is still all closed down. It's raining out here. It's the first time it's rained since I've been in Tucson for almost 2 weeks. So I'm going to walk you through it.
Remember, this is what was going on last night, and then he's going to update of why the sheriff and the FBI is having concerns. So let's listen to what he had to say.
Tonight, the latest developments. Is this possibly a break in the case? Everything that I saw, I'm getting into all of it. The latest on the Nancy Guthrie investigation in this episode of Brian and Investigates. Hey guys, it has just been an insane 4 or 5 on. There have been so many developments, not only tonight, which right now, if you're watching this, I don't know when you're watching this, it's Friday night. That isn't even, it's so late, it's actually after midnight now when I'm recording this. But the whole day was full of developments in the Nancy Guthrie case, which I'm going to get to in all of them. Let me start with really the breaking news, though. There was a SWAT raid, which I was actually at, which I'll get into the details of in a second. But we know that it is connected to the Nancy Guthrie investigation. They went into a neighborhood about 2 miles from Nancy Guthrie's house in Tucson. And they detained a man and a woman from the house, and they also detained a man from a traffic stop at a Culver's restaurant very close to that house. And I'm told that it's all connected. I'm told that it could be a mother and son who were detained in the house, and maybe the brother at the traffic stop, but they're all connected. And the reason I know this is because I'm told by sources that they were waiting to move on the house until the traffic stop happened, and that this is all connected back to the Nancy Guthrie investigation. Whether these are just people that they are looking into, whether one of them is someone that they're specifically looking to and they just detained them all for the time being while they question them, I don't know. But 3 people are detained, according to my sources, at least as of when I am making this video. So let me back up a little bit. I knew that something was about to go down this afternoon. The search plane was up, which I was told was doing surveillance, and then I found out that the SWAT teams, the Pima County SWAT teams, were going to be staging, preparing for a possible operation tonight. And they've done that before, and nothing has really transpired, but the sense was tonight something was actually going to happen. So I ended up going out to the 2 locations where I found out that they were staging. They moved from one location to another one very close to the target's house, which again was only 2 miles from Nancy Guthrie's house. They moved in on the house in the neighborhood. It was 2 big, like Bearcat SWAT trucks. I would say maybe 24 deputies. Everyone was just, it was a lot of armor. I mean, it was very, very serious. And I was told they were prepared for, for the worst, really, prepared to have to go in with force. What happened, though, is luckily they didn't have to use any force. When they got to the house, and I was right there, I got into the police perimeter. I don't know how. I think just because me and Mo, you guys know how I am by now. Like we were right there. We had good sources that led us right there. So we got in there before they put the police perimeter up, and we could tell that they didn't have to use force. The man and the woman surrendered outside of the house, and there was no issue there from what I could tell, and from what my sources are telling me. And at the same exact time, they were able to get a man from the traffic stop who is also connected to the same situation. Again, whether any of this pans out and they are officially deemed to be part of this Nancy Guthrie investigation, I don't know yet at this point, but I know that this whole operation is connected to the Nancy Guthrie case. So they pulled them out of the house, or they came out of the house on their own, I shouldn't say pulled out, and now I know that they are conducting a search warrant at the house, which could take quite some time. Initially, it was mostly Pima County deputies, and then a cavalry of FBI agents showed up, and I mean like a ton of FBI and evidence response unit. They all came into the neighborhood and showed up, and I was told that they were going to be there like all night long doing evidence collection. So it's a pretty big development. Hopefully it's going to lead to some major progress in the case. Hopefully it's not a similar situation to what we saw a couple nights ago in Rio Rico near the Mexico border. Remember, that was when kind of a similar situation. They went out, detained someone, did a search warrant, and it turns out, it seems that had absolutely nothing to do with the case, and they ended up letting the guy go, the guy named Carlos. Remember, I interviewed his mother-in-law a couple nights ago. This did feel, at first it felt similar, but as more and more FBI showed up, it was a bigger scene out here tonight. It felt more significant. That was just the feeling on the ground. So we'll see how this plays out. But it was a wild Friday night. Again, just for me, kind of just going from one SWAT staging location to another, and then ending up in the middle of all this action in this neighborhood and being on the inside of the perimeter. And Mo and I just tried to stay kind of out of the way, and no one really noticed us at first because we were just sitting in our dark car. If you were watching News Nation, I was doing live shots from the dark car, and then eventually one of the deputies saw us and was like, "You guys got to get out of here." So, but we were very careful in the beginning not to give the location, not to give the address. I was trying to just report very limited information because I didn't want to interfere with their operation when there were still so many moving parts. And then, of course, if everyone was officially detained, we were able to report more. So, the latest on the SWAT situation with the house and what happened with them detaining the person from the car, which again all appears to be connected. I'm told that the car was detained somewhere near Culver's fast food restaurant. So we're going to see how that plays out. My suspicion is they're going to probably get DNA from whoever they were interested in, interested in talking to, interested who they thought may be connected to the case. And now that we know that they have DNA from Nancy Guthrie's house, they can pretty quickly, with the FBI's help, try to match the DNA there and see if this person is involved. Okay, DNA. On the DNA front, big development today. Okay, I would say this is probably the second biggest development since the surveillance photos came out. And that is that the sheriff's office is saying that inside Nancy Guthrie's house, they located DNA that does not belong to Nancy Guthrie and does not belong to anyone associated with Nancy Guthrie. Okay, so a stranger's DNA located in the house. And remember, we know that they've taken DNA from Nancy Guthrie's family members, and we know that they've taken DNA from people who came in and out of the house, like landscapers, pool people, Uber drivers, that kind of thing. So they apparently ruled those people out in terms of whose DNA this is that they've out of the house, and there is someone else's DNA in the house. That is a big deal, okay? Because that DNA could belong to the kidnapper. And they can now use that when things like what happened tonight happen. They can try to get a DNA match. The other thing they can do with that, and think back to Brian Koberger and the Idaho investigation, is they can look into ancestry DNA, which we learned a lot about through genetic genealogy. We learned a lot about this with Koberger, and they could use it in this case. And that means that even if they can't figure out who the person's DNA is that was in Nancy's house and it doesn't come back to a specific database, they can go to 23andMe and all of these genealogy companies that people sign up for to find out their background, which is what happened with Koberger, and they can try to find matches there with extended relatives of whoever that person is. So they can maybe find a third or fourth cousin, and then they can try to whittle it down from there. And we've seen it happen before. It's a new kind of technology, but we learned all about it with the Idaho case, and it could come into play here. So it is a big deal that they found DNA in Nancy's house that does not belong to Nancy or anyone associated with her, according to the sheriff's office, and we're going to have to keep a really close eye on that, okay? That was another big thing that came out today. Something else, the sheriff is now talking. He's doing interviews again. He did an interview with News Nation. He did some other interviews today, and he is saying that this whole narrative, and I shouldn't even say narrative, I mean reporting. I have reporting from FBI sources that there has been disagreements between the sheriff's office and the FBI. The sheriff is saying that that's just flat out wrong. Granted, we've been hearing different things on the ground. I've been hearing that for days, really for a week, that the sheriff hasn't been sharing information with the FBI as recently as a couple nights ago. They weren't sharing critical information. There was the reporting that they were withholding critical evidence, that the sheriff wanted to send all the evidence to a private lab in Florida to have everything tested and didn't want to send some of it to Quantico, the FBI lab. The sheriff has responded and said, look, we wanted to send it to our lab that we contract with in Florida because that's who we're used to using, and because we started sending the evidence there in the beginning, it makes sense to us to continue sending all of the evidence there. That was his response when he started doing interviews and talked to News Nation today. But he is saying flat out that he called the FBI the Monday after Nancy Guthrie went missing, and he says none of this is true, that there are disagreements between him and the FBI. Again, I've been hearing differently on the ground here, but the sheriff is saying that it's just not the case. And he's also saying something else interesting. There was reporting yesterday that a glove was found in Nancy Guthrie's house, and the sheriff is saying that's just not true, that they did not find a glove in the house. But they have found multiple gloves, outside the house, not necessarily in the property, but, we showed you.
So now that's a general breaking news update. He's saying there was no glove found in the house. So that's why I like listening to Brian. Please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the subscribe button. Thanks for being here, everyone. Happy Valentine's Day. Good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you are. Let's continue fair use reaction clip. Continue to get the likes up, everyone. Please give me over 100 likes. We've probably had about 3,000 or 4,000 people in here. Let's get the likes up.
Black glove that was found along the major roadway, and apparently there are other gloves that have been found that are now being tested. So some sort of people are calling it a turf war in Tucson between the FBI and the sheriff, but we're hearing two different stories here. Also, President Trump spoke out today about this situation, saying that I think the quote was that the sheriff doesn't want to give up the case. That's why the FBI is still not in charge. Listen to what President Trump said.
I looked a lot different.
Like the video as the commercial goes past. Let's listen to what he has to say. Like the video, commercial. Hold on one second. I got to hit the button. Thanks for being here, y'all.
The sheriff doesn't want to give up the case. That's why the FBI is still not
in
charge.
Sad.
Listen to what President Trump said.
Are you investigated? Why hasn't the FBI taken over the Nancy Guthrie case as the lead investigator? Do you have any updates on how that's going?
Well, they took it over originally. It was a local case originally, and they didn't want to let go of it, which is fine. It's up to them. It's really up to the community. But ultimately, when the FBI got involved, I think, progress has been made. Complicated.
It's interesting to hear President Trump say that outside the White House. And again, these are things that I've heard. There have been concerns about the sheriff's handling of the case. And even he admitted, maybe they made a mistake opening up the crime scene so quickly. Remember, it was just a couple of days later they opened it up. We were able to get the blood. I spoke to the former Under Sheriff Rick Castigar. I've spoken to him before. He was with the sheriff's office for 40 years. He worked with the sheriff for a long time. He's not happy with the sheriff now and the way that the investigation has been handled. And I wanted to play for you what Rick told me. First of all, what is your reaction?
Okay, so he's going to give y'all an update of what's going on. He's going to tell y'all what previously happened, alleged with this sheriff. Let's listen in.
To this new reporting that the sheriff withheld critical evidence from the FBI.
I have a one-word answer. That's outrageous. And it's outrageous for a number of reasons. The FBI is the entity that certifies those for-profit organizations of which the Sheriff's Department here has a contract with to analyze trace evidence, DNA, hair, anything. And in my opinion, to not include the FBI in that analysis is absolutely outrageous. But it's rooted in this sheriff's disdain for the FBI. And it's rooted in, back when I was a member of the organization and working, a investigation that erupted. The sheriff was not the focus of the investigation, but he was promised by the FBI that they would keep him apprised of the progress of the investigation of some of his subordinates. They didn't. And simply put, that angered him considerably. I think I can understand that, but that particular grudge was with individual personalities that worked for the FBI at the time, not the partners we have today. And, whatever evidence was gained over the course of several 2 weeks needed to be processed, all of it, in my opinion, by the FBI, and with their talent, and with their expertise, and with their capabilities. The Sheriff's Department doesn't have it. Classic example, and maybe I spoke to this earlier. That video that we saw in Nancy's immediate front entrance. I know that the Sheriff's Department kind of dismissed any opportunity to resurrect that video. But once the FBI got involved, unbeknownst to local law enforcement, it was resurrectable. And it was, now we all have, although he's masked up, we have a clear image of somebody at Nancy's front door in the time and date in question. The Sheriff's Department didn't know it was possible but the FBI did. And that speaks to the technology that the FBI and the expertise that the FBI has. And local authorities, I don't recall too many times, even in my 40-plus year history, where we had a big case that wasn't turned over to and asked for specific help of the FBI. They have the capability.
Just go back for a second, and not in too much detail, but what is, you mentioned that there was this investigation that the FBI did.
He's going to give the update of what happened years ago and why allege this sheriff might be with the FBI. Let's continue fair use reaction clip.
Into some of the sheriff's subordinates. What was that about?
Well, it was about an individual who was taking RICO dollars, which is the
alleged
funds that are seized by law enforcement, and he was putting it where he could access it to pay for projects for the department. It was not put in anybody's pockets, and I cannot underscore that enough. People are going to immediately assume somebody was stealing money for their own benefit. That's not the case. And as I mentioned, the sheriff was not suspect in that case at all, but some of his subordinates were. Technically, by the RICO laws, if you launder money by taking it from one source and putting it in another.
Hold on, that's noise on their side, not my side. Let's continue fair use. Please hit the subscribe button. Let's get the likes over 100, you guys. Let's get the likes over 100. There's been about 3,000 people in here. Let's get the likes over 100. It keeps us and pushes us into the algorithm. I'm here on a Saturday morning giving y'all the news. It's Valentine's Day. Let's get the likes over 100. 261 people in the building. Please hit subscribe, you guys. Please hit subscribe and thank you. Let's continue fair use reaction clip.
It is a violation of that law.
But he was not happy with the FBI during that time.
No, he wasn't happy.
And you were on the inside then.
Of course.
You were the undersheriff.
I was one of his senior administrators.
Okay. And did he say that he didn't like the FBI, and what would he say?
Yes, on many occasions. To several of us, we would meet daily and discuss the issues, and he was very upset. And that's because they just didn't keep him apprised of the progress. They kept it close to the chest. He was uncertain whether he was suspect. All of these things. Well, when you're the boss of 2,000 people and some of your subordinates are being investigated for a crime, technically it is, he wanted to be made aware, and they didn't follow through with keeping him aware. I believe that is the foundation for his disdain of the FBI. But as I just said, those are different personalities back in 2016 when this happened.
Why do you think he is sending the evidence to Florida, to the private lab, instead of taking the FBI reportedly up on their offer to send it to Quantico?
Territoriality. This is his county, and his ego is in charge. And that's the way I see it. And the reason he has not offered them this evidence makes no sense. And I have heard a number of people who are local as well as national speak the same thing. It makes no sense. And I'm going to say that word again. It's outrageous behavior, perhaps just to make a point, perhaps just to say this is my area and I'm going to deal with it my way. And it's unfortunate because it compromises the investigation. It provides further delays in getting critical information that needs to be put out there.
He is now saying that none of this reporting is true, that he has worked with the FBI, that he called them on Monday, the Monday right after Nancy went missing, and he's saying that he's been working in collaboration with the FBI and that they were aware that it made sense to send everything to Florida because some stuff had already been there and it all should just go there. And he's saying that this is all incorrect reporting.
I'd like to hear the FBI say that, because my sources, and again, I'm on the outside, part of what I'm saying is conjecture, but it's experienced conjecture because I know the personalities and I know the history. And I haven't heard any official with the FBI say, that's okay, we knew about this. Let's delay the process longer and have a contract entity do the evidence instead of us doing it back in Quantico.
Have you seen the sheriff not tell the truth before?
Like the video, like the video. Fair use reaction clip. That was a good question. Like the video. This is just his opinion. I can't confirm or deny if that's what was happening in regards to the sheriff and the FBI. Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip. His opinion only.
I wouldn't say not tell the truth. I think he's a good-willed, honest man, but he has the need to do things away. He can be very vindictive.
Wow.
And he holds a grudge. And I believe that might be the real impetus for his decision to send it to Florida, send the evidence to Florida.
Let me talk to you a little bit about just the investigation in general. Obviously they released those surveillance photos from the front door. Do you think they're making progress? What's your sense? Do you think we're getting any closer?
Yes, absolutely. And the screws are tightening on this guy's thumb. the perpetrator, the criminal, the guy who was there at the time at Nancy's front door, knows that video is out, knows he's got exposure. And I think he's taking steps to try and deal with this the best way possible. I only hope and pray that Nancy is still with us. And I only hope and pray this kind of pressure against this bad guy will cause him to take her somewhere, leave her, and then try to hide out somewhere else.
When I was out at Rio Rico, they arrested, or that they detained that man Carlos to question him, and then he was let go just hours later.
Right.
Are you hearing anything about was that a mistake?
Well, I wouldn't call it a mistake. I think they had valuable information that was credible, and they pursued it. And what transpired was they were able to determine through investigative processes this individual, there was not enough information to arrest him. But I'm certain the investigators got enough detail where they could go back and interact with this person, talk to him, interview him, get more detail as perhaps more evidence becomes available, and pursue it further if they have to.
Have you heard anything about, because we heard that there may have been some issues between the FBI and the Sheriff's Office with that specific event?
I'm not aware of that.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. In terms of this, there's more ring video that's coming out. The Sheriff's Office says that they want any video within a 2-mile radius going all the way back to January 1st. First of all, let me ask you, what do you think that means? That they're going well before Nancy was missing all the way back to January 1st?
Well, that tells me that they have some reason to believe that somebody or some vehicle was in the area prior to Nancy's abduction. And they want specific video so that they can look at that as evidence. That's clear to me. So we shall see how that turns out. I think as we're standing here speaking, there's another video that's coming out, may be released very shortly, and that's very, very telling. And I don't know if your viewers have seen it, but when I looked at it, I went, oh my gosh, that matches somewhat the description of who we're looking for. How it's related to this case, I don't know. But I think that will become clear very quickly, and the person is identifiable, and that will become clear who that person is.
Do you think, though, that whoever did this to Nancy was just prowling around, trying other places? Because, everyone, not everyone, but a lot of the experts I've talked to feel like this was a targeted event against Nancy, maybe because of Savannah Guthrie, maybe because of some other connection. Like, is it really going to be someone who's just been trying to get into other houses around town?
I don't think it's that. I think it is a targeted event. I think this person intended to do what he did the night that he did it. Some of the requests for other videos and dates prior suggest this guy might have been surveilling that part of her neighborhood. But why would you enter if this was just a burglary? Go inside, encounter her, obviously, and then not just leave her there. Why would he be afraid of being identified? He was so masked up, none of us could really, you can get a mustache out of it, get some eyebrows out of it, but not much. And it's highly unlikely that Nancy would have been able to identify this person. And why take her, unless that was your original intent?
Last time I spoke to you earlier in the week, and this was before the new surveillance video images came out from her front door, you said that you believed, your gut told you that Nancy was still alive. How do you feel now?
My gut still says she's alive. But, as we go by more and more time and there's no evidence of life with Nancy, it becomes more and more concerning and heavy in this case. Time is of the essence in this regard. One possibility is, and it's horrific to think this way, but perhaps he took her and she succumbed to because of age and lack of medicine. We don't know that, and now he's got a problem.
That the intent wasn't to kill her, but that she passed away.
I think this was still a kidnapping, and I think his motive was money. That's my opinion.
One thing I keep getting asked is, what do people in Tucson think? How are people feeling? What's the mood on the ground? I mean, you've lived here your whole adult life, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you know a lot of people. I mean, what is the mood? How would you describe it?
Actually, the mood is supportive of the Guthrie family. And as I mentioned to you, this is a hometown gal who did well, Savannah. And so there's a huge outpouring of support for her. But just the same, a lot of folks are taking a step back and watching the antics and the interaction between the local law enforcement agency, who has had a proud tradition of being progressive and professional, fight with their federal partners. And it's nothing but territoriality and somebody holding a grudge, in my opinion. And the public sees it. And the public is, in my opinion, seeing what I hear from my associates still there. They're demanding that this be resolved. And the guy who can resolve it is the sheriff of Pima County, if he chooses to.
Why do you think we haven't seen the sheriff? Because he was doing so many interviews initially. And every day I'm waiting to see if there's going to be a press briefing. And
I honestly don't know. I can only guess. I would say something off the record.
Do you think it's because the FBI told him to just quiet down? Or would he even care if they said that?
I think he's gotten some heat for insisting on being in the limelight. Here's an example. Why would an administrator of a large police department get involved in deciding where a bit of evidence was taken? Why? Because the sheriff of this county is a micromanager and insists on being involved in everything. And he wants to make the decision. Most of his staff have the ability, but not the autonomy, to decide where those gloves should be analyzed. And if I were still there, and if I were given the authority, which I'm sure he wouldn't allow that, I would have given it to the FBI immediately. But that's not what has happened. And there are perhaps political and personal reasons for it.
As always, I really appreciate Rick and everyone I met here for speaking with me. And, you know, well, there's obviously...
Like we're listening to Brian, he's giving us an update of what happened last night, what's happening. Like the video, if you're just now coming in, we did do a lot of information, what transpired last night. We're trying to figure out what's going on. There were people that was detained and released. Again, like the videos, you guys come in. Please hit the subscribe button. There's about 117 in the building. Please, all 117, please hit subscribe. That'll be a great day having 117 people subscribe. If you already subscribed, press 1. If you already subscribed, press 1 and thank you. Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip. Prayers for Nancy for a safe return home. Let's continue. Fair use.
A lot of moving parts right now in terms of developments of the case, and I think the time will come where people will look back and try to figure out whether this investigation was in fact not handled properly. Something else I wanted to show you guys, because so many of you have asked me, like, what is it like around Nancy's house? I always get questions about the neighborhood, and about the, you know, sort of just the lay of the land there. So I wanted to make a video to show you guys what it is, what it's actually like around Nancy's house, what the foliage is like, what the, just sort of like what the whole setup is. Take a look at this.
Jump in my new EV with me. I found it on cars.com.
Like the video, like the videos. This commercial goes past. Thank you for subscribing. If you want to do memberships, the memberships are over there. There was a lot of great information given this week about celebrities, about this situation. I put those videos on members only. We released and gave a lot of information about a lot of stuff, and I got to protect myself and my page. So memberships are over there. A lot of information was given this week, and I protected myself by putting it in members only. So great videos Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. As you guys come in.
Networks, people from really all over the world.
Okay, so he's about to talk about being in Nancy's neighborhood. When you, okay, I'm gonna be general. The neighborhood in certain streets are extremely dark. The main road is lit up, but for some odd reason, where she lives is very, very dark. He's talking about, and he's showing, thank you for the gifted, my first gifted. My heart is warmed. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Sarah. My heart is warmed. He's going to talk about being in Nancy's neighborhood, and one of the neighbors are trying to sell their house. So could you imagine trying to sell your house and one of your neighbors got kidnapped? Is someone going to want to buy that home? I'm wondering if they should actually do an Airbnb for somebody to lease it out for, you know, because there's been so many reporters out there. But yeah, could you imagine? And then there's some updates and people doing repairs. But I'm going to let him tell you about the neighborhood. Some areas are very, very dark. So that's why they're asking the neighbors, what did your camera catch between 1 at night and 2 in the morning? You know what I mean?
Oh, about a block away, and you can see just how much media there is out here. I mean, they basically line the entire street, all sorts of different networks, people from really all over the world. Some of the live shots I've heard reporters doing are like in different languages. It's raining today, by the way, which is unusual, obviously, here in the desert. I've been here almost 2 weeks and it hasn't rained one day, but it started raining today, which is interesting for the investigation. I mean, if there were tire tracks or anything they were looking at, that could be an issue, although it's already been 2 weeks. So yeah, they've probably already, you know, hopefully looked for those kinds of things. This is Nancy's house right here. You can see that there is a Pima County Sheriff's deputy out front. Initially, they just had the house totally unsecured with no deputies around, but they have since kept the deputy here around the clock, just kind of keeping an eye on things, making sure that no one walks onto the property. Today, there was everybody was kind of excited about this. There was a pool cleaner that came, a pool service guy that came, and they actually let that person go back into the back of the house. This is our News Nation setup right here. That's Mo, our cameraman. Hey, Mo.
Hi, Sarah. Hi.
Because of the rain. It's been a long couple of
weeks. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
I want to show you here. Look, this is the area next to Nancy's house. And you can see like how dense the vegetation is. There's cactuses, there's bushes, there's rocks. And when you go back a little bit off the road, which I did the other day and was kind of walking through the desert, you can see how hard it is to see the road because of all the vegetation. So even if like a house like this is Nancy's neighbor, even if a house like this had a camera, it would be very difficult to actually see what was happening out on the road. Not to mention, at night it's like pitch black around here. They have an ordinance here that you're not allowed to have lights on at night because of all the stargazers. So it's really, really dark here at night. You can see more media parked this way. I mean, we've kind of taken over the neighborhood, which most of the neighbors have been pretty nice. We kind of see the same ones every day out.
So maybe that's why her porch light wasn't lit up, maybe. So they can't, you know how when you go to Walmart and you have the little lights that go along your walkway? They can't even have those. What is going on with this light ordinance stuff? That's so unsafe. Neighbors should be able to see this car, this person's body, that person. So I'm wondering if the light ordinance, you can't even have the little lights going up your driveway. It seems as if it's so dark out there. So dark. Good afternoon, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Thanks for being here. Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip as he talks about Nancy area.
Dogs. So we've become friends with a lot of the neighbors. A few have been annoyed, which I understand. It's like they have a hard time getting through. But I think the media, for the most part, has been pretty respectful of just trying to stay off the road, making sure we take all our trash at the end of the day. I know that sounds weird, but you know, you can imagine if it was your neighborhood. So up here, you can see the mountains in the distance. And again, just let you look to the side here. I mean, look how dense. People think this is like a normal neighborhood when you watch it on the news, but each house is on 1 to 4 acres. And there's a ton of vegetation and there's a lot of space in between the houses. And you can actually, like this guy, if he was trying to get to Nancy's house without walking along the road, you could easily do that, just kind of walking through the desert, through these yards, and no one would see you. And again, even if you walked in the road, especially at night, there's no cameras that I've seen that are really right out on the road here in the neighborhood. A lot of really beautiful houses here, by the way. It's confusing though. It's twisty and turny in here. There's only a couple of ways to get back to the main road, and there's all sorts of cul-de-sacs. And even being here almost 2 weeks, I literally have to use my GPS every single day when I leave because first of all, it's so dark, and I still can't really figure out. I still get lost in this neighborhood. So kind of goes back to like the whole thought of, did this person know the neighborhood? Did they plan ahead how to get in and out? You know, my thought is probably yes, based on just how confusing the neighborhood can be to get in and out of. Some construction happening here. There's a lot of construction in the neighborhood, I've noticed. A lot of landscapers, a lot of people doing work on houses, which goes back to, remember those black gloves that were found along the road, not far from here. I think it's about 1.5 miles from here. You know, a lot of these people doing work in the neighborhood use gloves like that. That's
maybe she did have lights. A lot of the area is extremely dark, extremely dark. I haven't seen, and maybe they do. Maybe some of the neighbors have lights right by the door. A lot of the areas are extremely dark back there. So maybe she did have lights in her driveway, a few. When we look at the cameras at night, we see the light from the sheriff department and, you know, but when they took a picture of that guy going up to the camera, trying to take the camera, remember how we pointed at the light above? I don't even think the light on the porch was lit because it would have showed more of him. Because remember, he had the flashlight in his mouth. If there was proper lighting, he wouldn't have needed a flashlight because the light above the foyer outside would have been lit. I don't think, remember how we kept pointing at it? I don't think that was lit up. I think it was darkened. I don't know. Their light ordinance is a little different. A lot of people normally have huge lights going up the street, going up the driveway. I'm not seeing a lot of that. Now, mind you, the person that had the light in his mouth, the house behind him had porch lights. The house behind him had porch lights because you could tell in the video as he's walking up to her door, trying to do whatever he did to the camera. Then he's stepping down to get vegetation, pull a tree to put the shrubbery in front of the light. When you look behind him, there are lights from the neighbor's house. So I'm wondering if they had two outdoor lights on the side of their house, but you could see the lights from the neighbor's house behind him. You can. We talked about that. We talked about that either Tuesday or Wednesday. My page is a little different. When I look at stuff, I really look at the outside. Why are you putting a flashlight in your mouth? If there's lighting, you know, when a lot of my neighbors, if you have the light right by your door, you can see pretty good. When I turn on my light, I can see pretty good. you know, and some of my neighbors, if they have a light above, you can see pretty good. So why did he need a flashlight in his mouth if the light above was lit up? But yeah, it's dark out there. But when you go to the main road, you see a lot of light. So I don't understand. I don't understand.
What some of the construction crews have told me. So, you know, I'm not sure that those gloves are actually going to connect back to the case, but we know that they were bagged and sent away for testing. And there's apparently the sheriff is now saying there are other gloves that have also been found. So here's another intersection here. We're right up the way from Nancy's. And I can't, like, again, I can't even remember. It all sort of starts to look the same out here. But yeah, I wanted to give you guys a lay of the land and kind of show you what the neighborhood is actually like and just how spread out the houses are, and again, just how much vegetation is out here.
Yeah.
That gives you guys some perspective of what the neighborhood is like. Again, there's just been so many updates over the last 12 hours. I'll keep you guys posted. I'm waiting to learn more about what happened with these detained, about what happened at the traffic stop. There's also a car that they've been searching out there. So as soon as I get more information, I'll bring it to you. Really appreciate you guys for watching and checking out the channel and all your support, and I'll talk to you guys later.
Of course, that was Brian we was listening to. Like the video, like the video. What do you think is going on in regards to them detaining these people, then releasing these people? What clues, clips are they getting in regards to so many people are being released? That was 10 hours ago. So many people are being released. And will they, you know, talk to them at a later date, knowing that there's only a certain time frame that they can detain them? But many people are like they've been getting hopeful. Yay, they detained somebody. What's going to happen? So let's listen to JR investigate. He's been talking to us about how a person, one of the reporters, ordered pizza. JR Investigate was telling us that there was an Amazon worker trying to deliver a package. JR Investigate showed us there was pool people allegedly having the ability to be around the house, whether they were looking for something in regards to the pool. JR Investigates went to the local neighborhood, going by allegedly the CVS that she might get her prescriptions at. So there's been a lot going on. So I've been watching a lot just so I can tell y'all. Hold on one second. This phone is buffering. I'm glad the tablet's not buffering though. Hi, welcome. Thank you for being here. Thanks for being here. Press 3 if you know where you're watching from. Press 3 if you know where you're watching from. Prayers for Nancy for a safe return, to be back with her family. Just a lot going on. I don't know if JR Investigate is in a certain location and that's why he's buffering. Sometimes he said that too, that certain areas he'll lose signal. So I'm wondering if that's what happened, if he just recently went to a different location. Okay, you guys, I have to be somewhere and I still need to get going. I already wore one outfit to do what I had to do this morning. Now I got to change again. Let me go do this Valentine's Day. Have a good day. So copyright disclaimer, under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teaching, scholarships, and research. Fair use is used permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. All comments are alleged, in our opinion, and for entertainment purposes only. We are almost at 100 likes, you guys. There's 100 people in here. Let me please have 30 more people to get the likes up, please. It's Valentine's Day. Can I get the likes to 100, please? There's 184 in the building. Can I get the likes to 100, please? 30 more people, please. Let's get the likes over 100, please. If you're just now coming in, we did do updates in regards to what happened last night, what's talked about. I'm going to play this clip so we get the likes over 100.
All right, good evening, everyone. I'm Elizabeth Vargas, and we are following this breaking news that is happening right now in Arizona. The Pima County Sheriff's Office has activated its SWAT team and mobile command unit.
That was last night.
This all comes as the desperate search for Nancy Guthrie is closing in on 2 weeks, and in that time, police still have no sign of the 84-year-old grandmother as scrutiny grows over the investigation. Just moments ago, I spoke with Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos. He strongly pushed back on reports that he's withholding key DNA evidence from the FBI. The sheriff also confirming to me that there is DNA that has been found at Nancy's house that does not match anyone in the family or in her close circle of friends and acquaintances. He New video. Police now have several gloves that investigators have recovered, and whether anyone has been ruled out as a suspect. We'll bring you that interview in just a moment. Remember, Nancy Guththrie's family reported her missing 12 days ago at around noon on February 1st. Investigators got their first major break in the case just 3 days ago when the FBI recovered surveillance video from Nancy Guthrie's front.
I don't know what these single letters are. I'm going to just remove you. Regular comments are fine. I don't know what that person's trying to spell out, but you got to be respectful over here. YouTube is blocking weird comments too. I don't know what those single letters are. It's Valentine's Day. You can say happy Valentine's Day. You can put flowers in. I don't know if somebody's trying to spell out something weird. We're not accepting weird stuff. It's Valentine's Day. Let's get the likes to 100. Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. Yeah, I don't know what that was, but we don't do interesting stuff over here.
Camera. And just last night, before our show went to air.
Okay, you reported it. Thank you. Like the videos, you guys come in.
The FBI released identifying details about that masked suspect. He's a man, average build, they say, around 5'9", 5'10", and he's also wearing a...
Oh, thank you. I think you're the first person that said Happy Valentine's Day. I've been live for almost an hour and 35. Other people might have said it. I just didn't see it. Thank you. I think you're my first person. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Yeah, thank you for being here. Oh, they were trying to spell out that. Okay, thank you. I'm tired. I've been up. I had stuff to do. I'm trying to get dressed soon and go do this Valentine's Day. And I'm looking like I need to go to sleep. So somehow, some way, I got to snap out of it and wake up. I got to be cute. I'm looking tired like I need to take a nap. I'm rubbing my eyes. What is going on? I need to be cute. Are you guys doing anything special? Please give me over 100 likes. We have 10 more people. Let's get over likes. Anybody doing anything special? Have you already got your gift? Are you doing your gift? Are y'all just chilling, just kissing each other? Let me know. Let me know. Thanks for being here, everyone. Fair use reaction clip.
25-liter Ozark hiking trail backpack in that video. This afternoon, TMZ reported it received yet another email from a man claiming to know who the kidnapper.
Yeah, I'm trying to get it together. I'm still cute, but I'm be even badder in the next 45 minutes to an hour. I am cute. Let's talk about a case. I can talk about whatever I want to talk about. It's Valentine's Day. We're covering the case. We've covered the case. I've been live for an hour and 35 minutes. Let's continue. Fair use.
Is. He reached out again after the FBI doubled its reward to $100,000 late yesterday. This man who's emailing TMZ initially wanted 1 Bitcoin for his information, worth about $68,000. Now he's asking for more. 2 payments, $50,000 in Bitcoin now and $50,000 when the kidnappers are arrested. And he is hinting there is more than 1 kidnapper involved.
Wow.
In just a few minutes, I'll speak live with TMZ's co-executive producer about this new note. But let's kick things off tonight with News Nation's Brian Enton, live for us on the ground in Tucson. Brian, you have
y'all noticed when TMZ is reporting on it, he always says, he says. He says. Have y'all noticed that in regards to when TMZ is reporting on it? He says, he says. He's asking for. Have y'all noticed that? There's about 221 in the building. Please hit the subscribe button. Get me over 100 likes. 10 more people. Please hit the like button. Double tap. Thumbs up the video. Appreciate everyone for being here. We're going to finish playing this clip. Thanks for being here, everyone. Appreciate you.
And moving along with the SWAT team from the Pima County Sheriff's Department. They are on the move. What are you hearing at this hour?
Yeah, we're trying to figure out exactly what's going on, Elizabeth. We know that a mobile command unit moved out of the sheriff's office. We know that the SWAT team moved out, and it appears based on what we're seeing right now, and I'm not going to say where we are, or I don't want to give many details, obviously. We would never want to do anything to interfere with the investigation, but it seems like they are staging right now, which would be pretty typical. We've seen them do this before, where they will go to a location and they will stage just in case they get the call, a call similar to what we saw the other night, remember, near the Mexico border when the man named Carlos was detained. They were staging for that situation too. So is it possible this means that there could be something coming tonight? It's possible at this point. We just don't know, Elizabeth.
Brian Anton, keep us updated. If there's any movement out there, we'll come right back to you.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below. And
we're almost at 100 likes, you guys. Let's get the likes to 100, please. We're almost at 100 likes. We're almost at 100 likes. 10 more people. Please hit the like button. 10 more people so we can be over 100. 10 more people so we can be over 100. Okay, this was 30 minutes ago. Let's hear what the news is from 30 minutes ago.
Along with other local news outlets, has been receiving letters allegedly coming from someone who knows the kidnapper, even the kidnapper, potentially. Let's bring in TMZ founder Harvey Levin. Harvey, boy, this gets weird.
So let's hear what TMZ has to say. It's something how they've inserted themselves in regards to this case.
Weirder, day by day. And this morning we wake up and we find out nobody's been arrested, nobody's in custody. We had a ton of police activity just 2 miles away from Nancy Guththrie's house, potentially within this 2-mile radius that the police have been asking for doorbell dash cam video. First, give me your quick observation on where you think we are this morning. Does this feel like a letdown?
Well, it's a letdown because they haven't caught the kidnapper and they haven't found Nancy Guthrie. I was in touch with the law enforcement involved in this early this morning, and I asked them, is this in any way tied to the information that we have given the sheriff and the FBI? And I was told no. And, as for, what happened, it doesn't seem like they've kind of connected the dots. It was interesting. Yesterday morning, I sensed something was going on with law enforcement, that there were meetings. They have these kind of morning briefings that were going way longer. I just happened to find out about one of them way longer than they normally did. And I figured something was up, and they were also playing everything really close to the vest. It may have been this, I don't know. What I can tell you is that the FBI is keenly interested in the ransom note that we received. And I know this to be a fact. They are keenly interested because obviously, we supplied them with it, and you can kind of connect the dots if you will, but I am 100%. They are extremely interested in this ransom note, and they're also interested in the person who has now sent us 3 emails saying in return for money, they will lead authorities to the kidnapper and Nancy.
Let's dig into that for a second, because this is fascinating. This person claims to know where she is, or at least who the kidnapper is, and is willing to pay, or is willing to receive $50,000, half of the reward first, and then half of the reward later. Have you heard from this person since we saw the activity happen overnight? Are you expecting to hear from them again?
Well, if you take him at his word, I am not expecting him because he ends his email to us. Let me read it if I can find this part.
8 more people to hit the like button. The person said they're not going to contact TMZ no more. They want the money sent in Bitcoin. They don't want the reward money because they're concerned about, people possibly coming after them for telling what's going on. So the person said he's not going to say nothing else. Allegedly, he knows where she is, but he doesn't want to tell. He wants Bitcoin. Let's continue.
He said that there's going to be no communication, that they are done talking. So he says, let me just find this. I apologize.
And he said that before,
right?
right?
I did say yesterday was my second and final attempt, but you upping the reward to discredit me is a lowball move. 3 strikes and you're out. So he's saying that he is not going to get back to us again, but he said that the time before and did.
Would you put up that money just to see where this goes?
I think it's really inappropriate because based on what we know, we could be interfering with law enforcement. They are not just sitting back. There's a reason that this ransom, this $6 million ransom, has not been paid, and there's a reason why the Guthrie family and or law enforcement has not paid the money. I don't know what that reason is. Personally, I'm puzzled, but it's very clear to me that they could do it if they wanted. And if we got involved in that, I think it would be highly inappropriate and could actually impede the investigation. There's something, obviously, there's a lot they're not telling us, but
let me ask you a question. Are you guys happy that TMZ are inserting themselves? Press 1, are you happy with TMZ trying to assist? Press 2 if you want or need TMZ to step all the way back. Press 2 if you want TMZ to step all the way back. Let me know in the comments. Why is TMZ inserting themselves, and why aren't they just giving the information to the FBI and sheriff? And do you think it's kind of affecting the case in a way? Do you think it's more so for them to get the clicks, the views? Do you want them to step the heck back and be quiet and just give the information to the sheriffs and the FBI? 1 and 2. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because as he's talking, he's going all these, news places, he's talking. And then many people are saying the files. Just wasn't he mentioned slightly? And now he's trying to distract. There's a lot of distractions. Step all the way back. Chill out. Give them the information to the FBI, to the sheriffs, and don't say nothing else. The whole thing, the sheriff, him getting information, the news station getting information, and you see how the difference between the news station and the difference between TMZ. Have y'all noticed over the last year, TMZ has been called out in regards to how things were handled with Colby, how things were handled with this case, how things were handled in regards to, wasn't there a situation where there was a chase? That was the Kirk situation, and his staff members were loud. Remember that? TMZ has been called out a lot in the last year. It all started, and that, prior to, many people called them out in regards to the Kobe. Gotta go look that up. But in regards to this situation, many people feel that they're inserting themselves where they should be inserting themselves, and many people want them to shh. Just be quiet. Just give the information to the FBI. Give the information to the sheriffs. Because the reason why I said that, do you recall when he had said, the guy said that, let me rewind it a little bit. Did y'all hear how the man was a little upset that they increased the reward and that he's not being taken serious? Remember? I'm going to rewind it a little bit.
Be interfering with law enforcement. They are not just sitting back. There's a reason that this $6 million ransom has not been paid, and there's a reason why the Guthrie family and or law enforcement is not paid the money. I don't know what that reason is. Personally, I'm puzzled, but it's very clear to me that they could do it if they wanted. And if we got involved in that, I think it would be highly inappropriate and could actually impede the investigation. There's something, obviously, there's a lot they're not telling us. But I do know they're really interested in this, so we're just kind of following along and passing the information on. A couple of things that really stand out in this email, this last one, is that he says that if the FBI gives them the first $50,000 payment in the form of a Bitcoin, they will immediately give the name of the main individual along with his information for you to track. Interesting that he says main individual because that suggests there's more than one person. He also talks about the fact that he feels this could impact his own freedom, which also makes it sound like he's worried they might implicate him in this kidnapping.
So you think the kidnappers don't know that one of the people, that there might be a mole? That's the thing. If he can't even show proof of life, why should anybody give that person anything? And I told y'all, he kept saying, he said, thanks for getting me over 100 likes. He said. Let's continue.
That he's kind of close to it in some form. But he ends, and this is particularly interesting, that the main individual that he says he can lead them to, he said, be prepared to go international. So again, if this is authentic, he's got to be talking about Mexico because where Tucson is, it's not that far from the Mexican border.
And I appreciate that you're saying if this is authentic, because you yourself, you're not sure if this is legitimate, this could be a scammer, because people are coming on TV left and right and wondering, have you become a honeypot for scammers, whether they're overseas or whether they're local? But you're telling us the FBI is taking these letters seriously.
We've gotten, other emails as well that are pretty easy to discredit. They are taking the ransom letter extremely seriously, and they are taking this letter asking for the reward in return for identifying the kidnapper. They are taking that seriously as well.
Okay. Harvey, thank you for sharing that letter with us, and any more information you get it to us as quickly as possible. We are trying to figure this all together. Thank you. Thanks for joining us.
Sure.
Like the video, fair use reaction clip. 2 hours ago, where's Nancy? Hold on 1 second. Like the videos, y'all come in. Like the videos, you guys come in. Thanks for getting me over 100 likes. Let's continue.
As 8-year-old Nancy Guthrie remains missing despite days of searching, multiple ransom notes, and newly released photos of the suspect. Nancy Guthrie is the mother of Today Show co-host Savannah Guthrie. In the latest development, a person of interest who had been detained in connection with the case was released overnight Wednesday with no charges being filed. For a brief moment, it looks like this case might have been breaking open. So where...
Okay, I don't know if that's going to get me flagged with that music. 1 second. Like the videos, you guys come in. I'm trying to get y'all the most recent updates from a few hours ago. I really like that reporter, but that was 15 hours ago. Like the videos, y'all come in. Like we said, there was a person that was detained earlier this week, and then there was more detained last night and then released. Like the video. Okay. Trump. No, we don't want to talk Trump. Not today. Like the videos, y'all come in. Hold on 1 second. I'm trying to get y'all some of the most updated. 4 hours. DNA recovered. And people were detained. Hold on. Let me see. 4 hours. Hold on. Okay. 4 hours. Nancy, the organization. 2 hours. The search. Hold on.
Overnight, major police activity was seen just 2 miles from Nancy Guthrie's home as the search for the 84-year-old enters now its second week.
For the latest on the ground, let's go to Matt Finn, who is live outside of Nancy's Tucson home. Hey, Matt.
Good morning. You have to imagine neighbors in this.
So when you think about it, 2 weeks ago, it was a Friday night, alleged, right? Was it a Friday night she got taken, or was it Saturday night? Think about it. 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago in 2 days, she was having fun with family, friends. 2 weeks ago, either it was a Friday night or Saturday night, this happened. Could you imagine? She's probably like, hurry up, y'all. Come and get me. Come and get me. Come and get me. What is going on? Her family did not know that she was gone for hours, up to almost 9-10 hours. Her family had no clue until somebody said she didn't show up for this group thing we do. Like the video, like the video. Yeah, it's interesting. The whole thing seems media driven. Yeah, a lot of us feel that way, but a lot of us want to cover. So whenever they're detaining someone, many of us are like, okay, they're detaining someone. Where's Nancy? Like the video, fair use reaction clip. I was too tired yesterday to go live last night when this all popped off. So let's continue. Fair use reaction clip.
Area are rattled because not only is there an ongoing investigation of a missing woman in her 80s, but then last night, this major law enforcement activity just about a mile and a half, 2 miles from the home. Our Fox crew did see a SWAT team staging in the area and then go in on this house. It's not quite clear how many people may have been apprehended or questioned throughout all of this, but the Pima County Sheriff confirms that some of its activity was in relation to Nancy Guthrie, writing law enforcement activities underway at a residence near East Orange Grove Road and North First Avenue related to the Guthrie case. Because this is a joint investigation at the request of the FBI, no additional information is currently available. Now, earlier in the day yesterday, our Fox crew saw what appeared to be a SWAT vehicle departing the sheriff's office, and that kind of tracks with something that happened earlier in the week when we also saw a SWAT team leave the sheriff's office, ending up near the border in Rio Rico, Arizona. Law enforcement took a man in for questioning. They searched his house, took his phone, but they ultimately released him. The Pima County Sheriff tells on that particular man because he was a delivery guy who had been near Nancy's house.
He was a delivery person, and he was in the area.
He was in the area, okay.
And we verified that.
Okay. Was that a cell phone ping or sighting?
I'm not going to get into all that. It's more than one.
Okay.
There's a number of issues that came up. We looked at and said, okay, this is a target. Let's go see what's up with this. And we approached it with a search warrant and talked to the gentleman, and he was very cooperative for the time being. We're satisfied with what he's given us.
So you hear the sheriff there telling us that they were satisfied with the alibi of the guy they questioned earlier in this week. So we have to imagine perhaps people are being questioned right now in relation to the activity last night. And hopefully we'll get an update from the sheriff or the FBI soon. Back to you guys.
That would be hopeful indeed. Thank you, Matt. All right, let's bring in Bernard Zapper, the former ATF Special Agent in Charge, Faculty Associate, Arizona State University School of Criminology and Criminal Justice. And Bernie, you were at a time a SRT team member stationed in Phoenix. You're well familiar with this area, with what's happening. What do you make of the law enforcement activities we've seen overnight?
Well, for them to have a search warrant and then to actually execute it in the way that they did, they had to develop probable cause, present an affidavit to a judge. So something significant has happened, probably, with the result of things they've released publicly.
And this is the second time that they presented to the judge and the people were released. What's really going on? Where are they getting these tips from and clues?
Things that are ongoing, they're definitely searching for specific evidence that's tying back to the home. And the people at the search warrant, whoever was there, were probably questioned. They don't necessarily are going to be arrested at this point. They are always going to be detained so they can safely execute the search. So it's a significant development to have a search warrant at a location and for them to be on site the amount of time that they have been.
So that analysis applies to the situation with the home, but not necessarily with the Range Rover at the Culvers.
No, the car is significant as well because to take it in for that type of analysis, they're actually trying to collect something that's probably DNA related, not to speculate, but that's also significant. And then having contact in a car stop with somebody, this is all derived from evidence hits. There's things that are bumping into each other that are confirming other things they're finding. And of course, they have the responsibility of running every one of these things down to exhaustion until they know, for example, a delivery driver, they probably related that there was like multiple contacts. They just need to go and eliminate that. Sounds like that's what they did.
But meaning what you're saying is that with the automobile, with the Range Rover at the Culvers, that there was something that they found something that led them to want to process that vehicle.
Yes, very much so. And until they exhaust that forensically, they have to do that.
So in some ways, maybe that might end up being more significant than even the house search.
A lot of people are still in front of Nancy's house.
The thing that we all need to remember is we're on this side of the veil of the investigation. And we're only seeing these occurrences that happen publicly. The execution of the search warrant, the seizing or examination of the Range Rover. There's a lot more happening on the other side of it that they're not public with, and they should not be at this time. And so it's you can see momentum, and you can see that they're running things to completion, and that shows progress. They have something here that is developing, and these large overt actions such as the search warrant and the vehicle signify that.
Bernard, one of the questions or unanswered questions we have is whether we believe or whether the investigators believe that the Guthrie family knew the abductor or abductors, and whether there was a forced entry into the home. I spoke to
Good question.
James Gagliano earlier, who says he can't understand why
the investigators have not yet made it clear whether it was a forced entry or
Facts.
not into that home.
Facts.
Are you
They
surprised
shouldn't.
that has not been divulged to the public? And what reason for withholding that information?
Yeah, I'm sorry. They should not disclose that. If there's no investigative advantage for doing that, then they should not. Simply because the more information they know, when they start doing or have done contact interviews with people, then they have information that hasn't been released publicly. So this person is going to know things or contradict things that they do know that's completely advantageous for them in the investigation. So that's to the effect of this, or excuse me, to the case overall.
Got it. Interesting point. All right, Bernard Zipper, thank you very much.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my
So court-wise, they have to be careful in what they say in regards to the entry. Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip. Like the videos, you guys come in.
The evidence that we have at the moment that we know, kind of going in reverse. So yesterday, the Sheriff's Department reported that DNA was found in Nancy Guthrie's home, and they were able to identify that it does not belong to her or anyone close to her. Is the way they phrased it. The Sheriff's Department phrased it. That would seem to indicate it does not belong to her or anyone in her family. So that could be a very, very significant piece of information. Prior to that, we have the description of the suspect off of the Nest Cam. Description of suspect, male, 5'9" to 5'10", average build. From that same video that we got, we also know that there is he's got a backpack, and they have identified the backpack as an Ozark Trail hiker pack. And as I think Morgan Wright was talking about, that could end up being a very crucial piece of information in terms of tracking the suspect down. And of course, none of us will forget the creepy images from that Nest Cam where you had the suspect going out into the front yard, grabbing foliage from the yard and trying to stuff it around the Nest Cam. Of course, because the guy disabled the camera, the last moments that were recorded on the camera were kept and not overwritten. So we were blessedly able to get those images. Of course, from day one, we knew that there was blood outside of the door that we've identified belonged to Nancy Guthrie. That blood is on the front doorstep where this guy's doing his creepy video here. And that blood exists on the outside, but not inside the house. Prior to that, in the middle of the night, the pacemaker gets disconnected from her phone, which is connected by Bluetooth, and so that suggests that maybe when her pacemaker left the Bluetooth range from her phone was when that got disconnected. Also, Morgan Wright made a very good point last night talking about the original ransom notes. There have been 3 ransom notes sent to TMZ. A lot of questions about that, and probably a lot of caution needs to be considered because, of course, we don't know whether or not there's been no proof of life. We don't necessarily know that the ransom notes have been sent by somebody who actually is involved or just trying to take advantage in a very gruesome way. Let's bring in Cheryl McCollum, forensic expert and crime scene investigator. Thank you for joining us this morning, Cheryl. So, developments overnight, what can you tell us, big picture, about those developments overnight?
I like what I'm seeing. The first thing that's very encouraging to me is you're seeing the Sheriff's Department and the FBI working together. You see sheriff deputies holding lights while the FBI is taking photographs. You see them holding up the tarps while the FBI looks inside the trunk. I like what I'm seeing as far as cooperation. The other thing that's important is you're seeing the tactical side. Everybody showed up at this thing. You've got SWAT, you've got deputies, you've got FBI. They're all there. They're clearly serving a warrant. They are looking for that backpack, that clothing, anything that they saw on that video. That's what they want to identify inside that house. And I am real encouraged. I think business is picking up. I think this is developing quickly.
And Cheryl, you talked about Sheriff Nanos. He talked a little bit about the DNA found in Nancy's home that he believes does not belong to Nancy. Listen here.
Partner keeping you awake? At Mattress Firm, our sleep experts can match you with a better mattress, like the Tempur-Pedic Adapt. Its unique Tempur material.
Please hit the like button. Please hit the like button.
Nancy,
let's continue. Fair use.
Do you believe you found the DNA of the perpetrator?
This is Nancy, the sheriff, where she's located. This is the sheriff speaking to the news. Many people are surprised that there's not a lot of press conferences lately
inside the house. Do you believe that at this point?
What I believe is, what I know is, we found DNA. And
that was not Nancy Guthrie's DNA.
That was not Nancy Guthrie's DNA. So we'll still work with that, and we're working with our lab on that.
Cheryl, that's certainly a significant development to actually find some DNA not belonging to Nancy inside the home, where we believe, based on the timeline law enforcement given us, was about 41 minutes from 1:47 a.m. and 2:28 a.m. Someone was in that house. Maybe this is a key. And you saw from Charlie's great wall walk there, laying out the pieces of evidence and clues that we have so far to include this DNA. My question to you, because you seem pretty upbeat that we're headed towards a major break, and we just had James Galliano detailing that to get these warrants, you needed a specific direction of what you were trying to get. If indeed that leads to DNA, forensic DNA evidence to add to what was found in the home, is that the big break we're waiting for?
It's going to be massive. In other words, if you can connect something found at Nancy Guthrie's home to this home they just went into, to a single individual, there's your money tree. Those are dots you have now connected conclusively. Nobody's going to deny DNA. We all understand that. So what they're doing, again, you see this precision. You see them walking very slowly through this thing to say, okay, we have a suspect at her front door. We also have Nancy's blood at that front door on the outside. So that means this perpetrator was moving her from the inside to the outside. We have a blood system of evidence that stops at a point. So we know at some point she didn't just quit bleeding because she's on blood thinner. So she's most likely put into a vehicle. If we have any of her DNA in the trunk of that Range Rover, if we have hair, if we have, again, that backpack, they did the right thing by holding up those tarps. And if you watch what they did when they closed the door and the trunk, they put evidence tape on those seals and they dated them and put their signature. That vehicle to them is a crime scene. They did the right thing by loading that up on that flatbed, getting it to another location to process it properly. I'm talking about one hair off somebody's head. So you don't want to try to do anything there at that scene. You want to take it to a location where you have something that you can take step by step by step, process it properly, bag and tag everything.
So you've got some very sharp observations about that search. Why are they holding up the tarp, trying to conceal it from view from the cameras?
Sure. Well, I mean, let's just say the obvious thing. They either have a container or they have a body. They have something that is their main focus. But y'all, we have children and grandchildren watching this from the Guthrie family. You protect not just the family, but you want to maintain the integrity of your scene. This isn't for TV. This isn't for everybody yet. They may not know what they have. If they have a container that may contain more evidence, this is all probative. You want this information. You want these items, but you want to maintain, the decorum of what you're doing while you're systematically protecting that family.
Cheryl, you are an experienced crime scene investigator. We love people with your experience on, not just because you can identify the facts, but because that experience gives you a gut instinct about what may have happened. I know you don't know definitively anything. None of us do. But based on your experience and based on your gut instinct, what do you think is the motivation here?
Well, I don't think it's money because they failed spectacularly. She wasn't ransomed the first day, the second day. The third day, they sent it to TMZ. They give them 2 separate deadlines to get the money. Savannah Guthrie says on Saturday, we will pay. Well, her mama isn't released Sunday, and then Monday comes and goes in the second deadline. That leaves, for me, revenge. So I don't know what their motivation would be. It's in their head of whatever they deemed revengeful. But to me, that's what we're left with.
That is fascinating.
Truly. Cheryl, thank you so much for that insight. Yes, indeed. Thank you.
Y'all.
I'm Steve Ducey.
Like the video, fair use, reaction clip. Okay, you guys. Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day. I'm getting the look. I got to get out of here. Praying for a safe return for Nancy to be reunited with her family. What's going on? The request from this person through TMZ. Many people want TMZ to step back. Many people want more press conference, give us updates, let us know. Many people, thank you. Thank you for the gifted. Thank you, thank you. Happy Valentine's Day, you guys. Happy afternoon. Happy afternoon. Many people want general press conference. More of what's going on. Where are you getting these tips? Do you think they're not doing the press conferences because they slightly feel away? And this is the other thing. If they're not testing everything, or the FBI feels they need to test everything, is that why the people are being released when they're being released? Because if they were giving the information to the FBI, we might get a quicker response. So I'm wondering. I thank everyone for being here. I appreciate everyone for being here. I appreciate you all. I hope everyone has a great Valentine's Day. I hope you're surrounded by love, appreciation, gratitude. I hope you both are supporting one another in regards to your goals and endeavors. I wish everyone a safe, great day. Be around people that love and support you. Don't be around people that disrespect you. And make sure you tell them, get it together. I'm not going to be putting up with the disrespect. You know what I mean? So make sure you're around people that love and appreciate you. If you did not get a Valentine's and you don't have a Valentine's, go treat yourself. Go find something you want to do where it rejuvenates you. Go get some sun. Go get some great food. Go to your favorite restaurant. Have a takeout. You don't have to sit at a table by yourself, you know? So, yeah. We're being told that they have not yet found her. The news and reporters are still camped out at her house. Thank you for the gifted. Thank you for the gifted. Not going to say the first, you know, I see what your title is, but thank you for the gifted. Woo! Interesting name, 24. Thank you for being here, everyone. Appreciate you all. Have a great day. I was only supposed to go live for 30 minutes, and I've been live for 2 hours and 9 minutes. So I definitely you guys the information. I almost went live last night, but there's only so much I can do. We're around family. They don't want to, So I normally go live when everybody else is doing their thing, and then we come together. So yeah, I almost went live last night. So thank you, everyone. Have a great day. I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot we're trying to understand. There's a lot we're trying to understand in regards to who dropped her off. Was the door locked? Very interesting. There's no alarm system. Her being 84, why isn't there an alarm system? How did they get in? She's 84. She needs a proper alarm system to punch in the codes. Doors are locked. Windows are locked. If somebody gets into her home, 84, she needs a way. If there's something happening, rambling outside of her doors, she should be able to immediately get to her phone, call 911. I feel somebody might be trying to enter. It's interesting that there's no alarm that tripped off the police or any emergency services. 84, she needs proper alarm systems. And a lot of the neighbors, I see a lot of the videos. JR Investigates doing an amazing job. He had almost 1 million views yesterday. People care. Many of the neighbors have dogs. She's probably too old. She don't want to take care of no dog. But having a camera inside the home, you know how nannies, when parents hire nannies and they want to keep an eye on the nanny with the child, and you got a private, camera inside and you're looking at what's happening, definitely needed that. And then for what happened between at night, 1, 2 in the morning, people didn't notify her family till later that afternoon. What, 11, 10, 11, 11:30, 12? So that whole time, her family didn't even know she was gone? Y'all not calling your mama in the morning? Good morning, Mom. What are you having? Good morning, Mom. Are you on your way to your group event? When a person that age lives alone, they say she's very bright. It's not any type of dementia, memory loss. It's none of that. But at 84, she can't really defend herself against strong people. We don't know if it's one person, two people. It's interesting how they released the home back to the family 2 or 3 days later, 3 or 4 days later. That should not have been released back to the family. And nobody should be able to walk up to try and deliver a package either. Person trying to deliver a package, person trying to ring the doorbell to deliver pizza. That's a crime scene. What? It should have always been taped off. Cones at the drive-in, you can't pull up. You cannot pull up unless you're a police officer or sheriff, and a sheriff will remove the cones so you can get in the driveway, and then the cones have to go back behind. No, there are people out there that have video cameras on the house 24/7 or 12 hours a day. So how it was handled is something else. A lot of me and my friends are saying 84. Where was the alarm? Was the doors locked? That's what we kept saying. Why didn't the alarm go off to alarm the alarm system? We talked about the thing that older people used to have around their necks. We talked about that. The person gave me the name of it. I already forgot again. And if you can't have it around your neck because you're asleep, you should have one next to the nightstand. People are just saying, what in the world? And then, older people want to, if they can, live by themselves. They don't want to live with their kids because they don't want to be a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week babysitter for the child they already raised. They don't want to raise their grandchildren, so she might have wanted to live by herself. But we have to have precautions, protections for a person of that age. And the area that she lives in is extremely dark. And the area she lives in is extremely dark. And it's not like whenever we're seeing the cameras, I see the people, leaving the area. Some are still at the house late at night. We're not seeing a lot of lights trail up to the door. A lot of us have the night lights and they're solar. So when it hits nighttime, the solar lights go. And this is the one thing I'll say as well. When y'all saw the video, the person going to the home and the flashlight was in their mouth, we didn't see a light above either. So you have an elderly parent, check on your parent, have to have securities. The doors have to be locked. Tell them every night, you got to make sure the door's locked, mom, dad. But the security system, and it was great that they had the Ring camera up front. Then they were alleged that there was no subscription. And then they had to get verification to release that photo. And then many people were wondering too, this is the other thing. Go on to Megyn Kelly where she's talking about the Ring camera. They showed a guy putting the Ring camera up, removing the Ring camera to recharge it. And then Megyn took some glasses and a hammer and she was hammering the Ring camera. So when they got the live video of the guy trying to cover up the Ring camera, do they have live audio of him speaking? That's the big question too. Do they have live audio of him speaking? Oh, I got the Ring camera off. Oh, yes, I'm in the front door, back door. Oh, I had to climb through the window. Do they have audio of what was going on? Do they have audio of Nancy? You know what I mean? My page is a little different, y'all. I talk through stuff, I see stuff, and we did notice when you go back and look at the man going up to the door and then walking away from the door, getting the shrubbery, it does not look like there's light above him. And that's alleged why he had the flashlight in his mouth. But when you look at him walking up to the house and you see him walking down to get the shrubbery, you can see the neighbor does have some lights behind him. And what did the neighbors' cameras catch? What did the cameras catch, that night coming into the complex, leaving the complex? Those people may be a little bit older. They're probably in bed by 9, 10, 11. You know what I mean? What did the cameras catch in that area? There shouldn't have been too many people coming in or out, not at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. So prayers. Pay attention to your surroundings. Be vigilant. Even me, I'm being vigilant. I noticed something the other day and I was like, you ain't getting me. I was cautious. Sure was. Cautious. Yep, sure was. Everybody's cautious right now. High alert. You see something, you got a problem, high alert, record it, call somebody, yeah, high alert. Many women have to be high alert anyway. When you go to Walmart late at night and you see 2 vans trying to block in your doorway, nope, not getting in. Security, can you walk me to my car? Don't touch items that's on your windshield. Don't touch items that may be jammed in your door. Don't touch items that's below your car. Security, can you help get me to my car? Don't be afraid to ask security for help getting you into your car. Security, or y'all go investigate why hands right between my car. Because heck, they might get mad that you told on them and they may try and follow you. So security, go handle that. I'm gonna go shopping some more. Yeah, times are different. And women have to be very careful. I see something on my windshield, I am not touching it. Not touching it. Did y'all hear? Let me tell you this too. Did y'all hear the story of a lady? She was in Walmart. This was about 6 months ago. Somebody posted this, but it might have been a year. A lady walked into a Walmart. Someone was selling books, and they had her touch the book. She started feeling woozy inside Walmart. Inside Walmart, she started feeling woozy. She goes to pharmacy. She says, I think I touched something I shouldn't have touched. I'm here by myself. Call the police. If somebody comes up and says I'm with them, I'm not with them. At a point in time, she could barely speak. Luckily, she went to pharmacy saying something's not right. Something's not right. You've got to be cautious. Even in Walmart, these people and, these jokers were trying to do something with a woman inside Walmart. Don't touch stuff. And if you got to tell people, I'm sorry, I'm not touching that. I'm not interested in buying your book, your magazine. Thank you for there was a guy, I'm telling you the truth. There was a guy that tried to hand me something. I said, no, sir, thank you. No, thank you. Nope. I'm just trying to hand you something positive. I'm sure you are. No, thank you. Have a good day. Have a good day. I don't touch nothing anybody handed me. No. Nope. I'm not touching nothing you trying to hand me. People will try and trick you, even if it's something interesting or, times are different now. There's some weirdos out there. And he kind of looked at me like, I said, no, thank you. Why are you pressing the issue even more so? And then you have to look around your surrounding. Somebody could easily, you touch that, they're trying to pop you upside your head afterwards. And if you feel that somebody's following you, pull over, find a police station, find somebody, go to a local gas station. I think someone's following me. Go to a lighted area. People nowadays are weird. Women have to be cautious. Men have to be cautious. There's some weird people out there. Yes, be careful. Answer on your phone. Me and my family have a way of answering. We don't answer and say a certain word. You know how they say you shouldn't say that word. We're cautious. I'm not going to give clues, but we're cautious even answering our phones. You're not going to, get information. I remember being with one of my friends. This is kind of, my own little story time. I'm being with my friends, and they answered a call from a number. They had no clue. They're asking general weird questions. I said, thank goodness I was in the car with you. Why are you talking and FaceTiming these people? You don't know who these people are. Oh, it's not that big of a deal. I'm a guy. I don't care. You're in the car with me. People are weird. Why are you answering? And it's interesting. I'll tell y'all this. It's interesting. That person kept waking them up. They're about to go to work. 2 or 3 hours later, they kept blowing up their phones, and then they cut their phone off, and they almost didn't get up for work because this weird person is calling them. And then a bunch of us are in the car. And it's like, why are you still entertaining this person? Block it. We have to tell you as a grown man, block it. Screenshot and block it. You can't be answering random people, and they're aggressive. They were aggressive with it. I think they had called that person 3 or 4 times. Aggressive. They're trying to get some information, lie about something for you to slip up and say something. Stop answering. Hang up. I think I was the one that flipped out most. They were like, calm down. No, why? If you're telling us they've been trying to reach, what? Who FaceTimes a stranger? But yeah, you guys be careful, be safe. Men, women, be careful, be safe. Our friends were like, what are you doing? And then you almost missed your alarm trying to not answer this person. You should immediately block them. You saw that they were trying to pressure you even more. Block them so you could have heard your alarm. Be careful, y'all. Yeah, have you noticed that? People want to start arguments, start stuff. I walk away. And if I got to record you and I will record your ass. And even if I'm in a state I'm supposed to, not supposed to, I'm going to record your ass if you're starting a problem. Forget that. I'm about to record your weird ass and tell somebody. I will. It's sad that we're in a position that we have to do this, but we have to do it. People are weird. They're starting crap. I told y'all yesterday I was live. My best friend's at work and people are starting stuff with her for 2 days straight. I said, report it, record it, and tell somebody. Misery loves company. Do not let them knock on your door. People like to start stuff so they could tell their friends. I'm the wrong one. People probably didn't think that I was going to handle that situation how I handled it recently. Oh, I got your ass. Yes, got your ass. People were like, oh, wow, you did this, this, and this. Yeah, I'm not to be fooled with. Wrong one. Wrong one. They probably think I'm about to sue, and I possibly should. Be careful, y'all. Yeah, I should have recorded and made them go viral. Did y'all hear about that story where Terrell Owens, remember how he was going to get his mail and the lady was like, you almost ran me over. You didn't stop at the stop sign. He's like, ma'am, there's no stop sign. I didn't almost run you over. I'm on the curb. I think that lady got in trouble for what she was trying to do to Terrell Owens. Record, 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 record. I'm about to make you go viral, weirdo. Make sure you're in a city where you should be. But in certain situations, you have to protect yourself. This is not legal advice. It's not record advice. I'm not trying to get into trouble. But if there's a situation where you have to record something of someone, and if you're able to, and if you're able to call someone saying, this is a situation, I'm being followed, go to a gas station, go to Walmart, go to, whatever you got to do to protect yourself. There's some weird people out there. Weird. And a lot of people want to stir you up. And when when they see that they can't stir you up, that ticks them off. And then they'll say something else or do something else. And you got to be careful. For YouTubers that's on here, be careful who you invite on your page. They want to start stuff. They might want your channel taken down. Be careful who you invite on your page. Be careful who you associate with. Something seems weird, your gut is telling you something. Be careful. So much is going on in the world. So many distractions. So much stuff is going on. Yeah, I'm live. Of course I'm live. This is me. This is how I talk. I'm not an AI. I'm a real one. Boom. Won't she do it? All right, you guys, I got to go. Bye. Have a good day. Happy Valentine's Day. Already did my disclaimer. Copyright disclaimer. Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purpose such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teaching, scholarships, and research. Fair use is used permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. All comments are alleged, in our opinion, and for entertainment purposes only. Thanks for being here. Have a great day. Bye.